Grim bloke. Yeah. And then, yeah, bruv. Yeah. You bruv. In it. Grim bloke. Let me tell you about this one time. I went through a porthole and snuck into the North Pole and got picked up in a Hyperborean DeLorean. They said they knew I was a Webster Merriam historian, master the numerical Gregorian, the hysterical mystic, no more than a Pythagorean. Conspiracy theory Ethereum in the etheric fear realm. I thought they were gonna take me to the crematorium in their Hyperborean DeLorean. Tested me on my Sumerian, Shakespearean. Knew I was a numerical vegetarian Aquarian. That I knew about the Tartarians, barbarians, Mars radium, aliens. Salt of the earth, solution Selenian. Spent the night in a Hyperborean chamber. I looked around and thought, bruv,
what's up, Maggie? Hey, coffee.
Hyperborean memoriam, auditorium, all cause I got picked up in the Hyperborean DeLorean. Introducing all love. Jack Bruff. Yeah. Invisible diamond minerals, crystalline and swimming pools, interdimensional realms of scrapping Catherine, Bahamas, Azores, Atlantis shores, mountains, temples, marble floors, seafloors, treasure and cities lost. Yeah, bruv, in it. Oh, sphinxes, pyramids and minotaurs, fruit grown in grove, luxuriant. In it. Inhabitants intelligent, closest seen to perfection. The whole experience, heaven to them, polar aurora, horizon beyond them. Flattened sky, lake of fire, core and flora, but bright comets, tornadoes, turbulence, not prohibition, more. Not forbidden, thought expansive, places massive. In it. Yeah, bruv. In it. Oh. Just hanging around. Yeah. Telling stories in the Hyperborean DeLorean. Grim bloke. Jack bruv. In it. Just hanging out around. Oh, Jack bro, 40 bro. 88892. If you didn't know, now you're forever exploring it interdimensional. Historian, oratorium. Just hanging around telling stories in the Hyperborean DeLorean. Just hanging around. Jack bruv. Grim bloke. 8892. If you didn't know, forever exploring the interdimensional primordial. Historian, moratorium. Just hanging around telling stories in the Hyperborean DeLorean.
Best night of the week. Welcome back, ballers, to the best night of the week. Another episode of Eye to Eye with AJ, Rambo, and Cody. Episode 40 now. Amazing stuff. Before we get started, Rambo, Cody, can you guys hear me okay?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, brother.
I can
Cody,
hear
you out
you.
there? Awesome. Let's dive right into it. Let's get some intros out of the way here really quick. My name is AJ, Balll Don't Lie, 3 L's in Ball. You guys can email me at any time at wordplaybook, 3 O's in book at gmail.com. You guys can find any of my content here on YouTube where we're streaming tonight. Same on Cody's channel tonight as well. Appreciate you doing that, Codes. And as well as Instagram. I've also written 11 books at this point over the last 6 years, give or take. And I'm more than happy or willing to send it to anybody who is interested in reading it and further expanding on the knowledge. I also have a Patreon page on the Moneyball, patreon.com/on the Moneyball for anybody interested in notes before game time. Cody.
Thanks everyone for being here. Thank you, Rambo, for being here again and sharing your great work, and enjoy your work. And also thank you, AJ, for setting this up as usual. And hopefully we can have another great evening. And for all those who are wanting to find me, you can find me on Decoding with Cody on YouTube, which some of you guys are watching on now. And also support can be found at buymeacoffee.com/decoding with Cody. And look forward to tonight's episode.
We appreciate you, Codes, very, very much. Rambo.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Cody. I appreciate you. I say this every week, AJ, for putting this all together. This is your baby. This is your platform. But I thank you, Cody, for sharing your platform, your knowledge, and the sacrifice you make, because I honestly keep forgetting the time zone issue that you have being where you are. But I appreciate you, the sacrifice you make, getting up at an inconvenient time and giving us typically, sometimes 3 hours or more. I appreciate that. And the audience, appreciate them for their participation and for watching and supporting. And my work can be found at patreon.com/thetruthcodes, where there's only one tier. It's for $5 a month. And with that, you can also have access to the Codebreaker community Discord server. There are some members of the community with great decodes, which they will share on Discord. Also, the comment sections are great. I like to thank my patrons for the great comments they have to every video. I always advise, I learn things when I watch videos. I learn from comment sections. I never just watch a great video. You'll always find gems in the comment section. And I'm very appreciative to my patrons for the quality comments that they leave in the comment section. So I always recommend you look at the comment section in general. Comment sections have gems. And Discord enables not just comments, but videos and images to be shared. So the Discord experience is greater as far as sharing decodes. So, and with the Patreon also, you can join for free. There are some things for free, and you can see past videos which are now available for free. So you can join Patreon for free. What I would say about Patreon is it's not very compatible with Apple. And the best way to view Patreon is through the Chrome browser. So if you have an Apple computer, the best thing, even for myself, just to upload to Patreon, and I have a Mac, I have to download the Chrome browser because for some reason Patreon is just not compatible with Apple. This is not a good experience. I think they're even charging people more if they use the app on the iPhone. So in general, for Patreon, I would suggest doing it through Chrome, through a Chrome browser, which is what I have to do as well, even though I have a Mac. So that'd be my advice. And again, thank you, AJ, for promoting my work and allowing me to promote my channel here on your channel.
Absolutely. It's a blessing to do it, Rambo, seriously. And I can always attest to that. I am part of Rambo's Patreon. I have been for a long time. His community is amazing. And this is why we do these collabs, right? Is because we all help each other grow in the knowledge and feed and build off of our individual findings. So shout out to everybody that is currently tuned in or who will watch later as well. You guys, once again, this is $5 a month. Okay, not a day, not a week. Best deal in town. So make sure that you guys give Rambo a shot if you haven't done so already. And yeah, I can attest to the whole Apple issue, so to speak, with Patreon. I have my own issues uploading, posts using the app. I always have to make sure that I go to my laptop to upload those things. But anyways,
I just wanted so can I add real quick that
yeah, of course. Go ahead.
I'm also on Instagram, instagram.com/thetruthcodes, and I just uploaded a video today, a short 3-minute video on Instagram today. So instagram.com/thetruthcodes as well. Thank you.
Yep. Perfect. Spelt out exactly as it is, the truth codes, no punctuation or underscores or anything like that. Very easy to find Rambo's work if you know where to look. So what I wanted to dive into today, kind of putting a bow on this whole Varsity Blues thing with the death of James Van Der Beek. Shame on me. I had never seen the movie. I was always familiar with it. I knew that he lived in Austin, Texas. And after watching the movie, I just want to share some slides of things that I thought were interesting, but only to find out, too, that this movie was also filmed just in my backyard where I live now in Austin, Texas. And Rambo, I was going to get a slide out here for this, but it was also filmed in the same area as the movie called Johnny Be Good. And I know that you've been talking about Johnny Be Good as well. So I'm just like, as I'm doing more research on the movie, where it was filmed, watching it, all that stuff, I thought it was crazy to see, oh, wow, like Johnny Be Good is also on this list of movies that were filmed in this particular area, the North Austin, Texas area. So, I mean, if you guys don't want me to spoil Varsity Blues, you guys can pause or mute the live stream, but we're just going to fly through this really quick. So this is literally one of the opening scenes of the movie, which kind of gave me the chills, if I'm being honest. You have James Van Der Beek. He plays Jonathan Moxon. He's the backup quarterback who ends up becoming the hero of the movie. When the starting quarterback, played by Paul Walker, we've talked about him ad nauseum at this point, goes down with an injury. But in the opening scenes of the movie here, he is laying down reading a book, and his brother is just standing here with his wrists attached to a plank like Jesus. I mean, it's actually a full cross that he's walking around in. Little bizarre, if you ask me. I mean, Texas is a very God-fearing state. What do they say? Family or God, family, and football. It's kind of a big slogan, so to speak, in Texas. But later in the movie, this kid also, he's not a big character, but essentially he starts creating a cult. And like he has these kids coming in dressed up in all white and robes and things like that. And the father here is like, what's going on? Who are these kids? And he said, they're my people. I say, Kyle, did you start a cult? And he goes, yep. I sure did. I started a cult. And then the mother comes over and says, oh, that's so sweet, and gives him a kiss. So that was a little weird. Cody, I mean, I want to say just last week. If it wasn't last week, it was the week before. Talking about Michael Jordan in 23. Yeah, it was last week. We talked a lot about the number 23, and sure enough, as I dive into this movie, this is one of the first lines that comes out of the head coach's mouth, where he's preaching to the high school that he's going to bring the number 23, essentially the 23rd championship, I guess, to the high school. Fast forward to when Paul Walker's character, the starting quarterback, goes down with an injury. Enter James Van Der Beek. End up winning the game with 23 points. Thought that was worth pointing out. But Rambo, you and I just talked offline about this whole kind of connection here, right? With the child and Moloch and whatnot. So I just kind of wanted to pause here for a quick second because the first game, I think after, yeah, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Could you clarify what I said about what the Moloch connection is?
Yes, of course. Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to elaborate on that.
Yeah. So Canaan is known for the ancient Canaan is known for Moloch worship, and Moloch is the bull figure to which child sacrifices were given. Just wanted to clarify that. Yeah.
No, that's perfect. Yeah, I should have put this slide up here sooner. So one thing I didn't clarify, once again, for those that haven't seen the movie, West Canaan is the name of the high school, right? So that's tying right back into, you know, what Rambo was just talking about with Moloch and Canaan, the Canaanites, etc. But then also, yeah, I mean, back to Moloch, right? The Bulls, you guys can notice right here, one of the first teams that they play against is the Bingville Bulls. And for what it's worth, you know, if you want to add anything else to it, they're called the West Canaan, I say Coyotes, but in the movie they pronounce it Coyotes. What else we got here? I thought it was interesting too that, you know, we've been talking about Charlie and Charlie Kirk for quite a while, but there does seem to we can't seem to escape the name Charlie. I mean, obviously it's a very common name, but in this particular movie, one of the main characters, his name is Charlie Tweeter, number 82, which I thought was very interesting because the Super Bowl took place 3 days before the death of James Vanderbeek on the date written 8/2 in the majority of the world. We've also very recently talked about how this being another Kobe year, right? Bryant equals 26, died on the 26th day of 2020. Game equals 26, Jordan equals 26, etc. But sure enough, we had in this particular scene, there's a play called set 280, like 28. And this play was drawn up for 8-2, so falls right in line with the Super Bowl. And of course, they're playing against the Horny Hex, the Hornets, essentially. And there's a lot more to be said about that. Kobe Bryant drafted by the Hornets, etc. Just as I dove deeper into this movie, I was like, oh my God, man, that like it seems like it fell so much in line with what we are all currently experiencing in the world of sports and news and all that kind of stuff. And please feel free to chime in on anything else as I go through this. One of the biggest things, I posted this on YouTube later last night or the night before, but as I was watching this movie, another big character, his name is Billy Bob. This big man over here, he's an offensive lineman. Long story short, he gets a concussion. The coach, played by John Voight, this guy down here, pretty much forces Billy Bob to keep playing, which then results in him passing out in the middle of the game, missing a block, which led to Paul Walker's career injury or season-ending injury, so to speak. And the coach hangs that over his head the whole season, only for him to kind of be the hero in the final minutes of the movie. But in watching this movie, I saw the movie Friday Night Lights, and I also watched the whole TV show years and years ago. And when I was watching Varsity Blues for the first time, I was like, this is the exact same story as Friday Night Lights. And then when I saw Billy Bob, the name of this character, I was like, oh, it reminds me of Billy Bob Thornton, who played the head coach in the movie Friday Night Lights, right? And sure enough, I did a quick Google search on these guys, and sure enough, they have the exact same birthday. The exact same birthday? Seriously? Ron Lester, same birthday as Billy Bob Thornton. Ron Lester played Billy Bob in this whole Texas high school production, right? And then shout out to who it was who commented on my post on YouTube. But they also mentioned that John Voight the original coach in Varsity Blues, he is the father of Angelina Jolie, who was dating Billy Bob Thornton. So, I mean, that was just mind-blowing to me. So that's why I was kind of low-key telling people, like, keep an eye on Billy Bob Thornton. I mean, I'm not predicting that he's going to die or anything like that, but, like, I don't know. I feel like with what's happened with James Van Der Beek, this Varsity Blues, this is one of the 2 biggest projects he was ever in, besides Dawson's Creek. It's a whole other story. But here you go. The whole coach connection, Billy Bob, etc. I mean, there's even a scene when James Van Der Beek takes a shotgun and shoots John Voight's character, Bud Kilmer. That's another thing. So the coach's name is Bud Kilmer. Let's not forget about Val Kilmer, who died on April Fool's Day last year. And what I thought was interesting, I don't have a screenshot for it, but you guys might get a kick out of this. The thing about Van Der Beek's character in Varsity Blues, Moxon is his name, is that he's a smarty pants. He's a nerd, plays a backup quarterback, and every time he goes out and gets a chance to play, he tries to do these really kind of clever plays, right? He goes against what the coach wants to do. And there was a line where John Voight's character, Bud Kilmer, says to Van Der Beek's character, "You are the dumbest, smartest kid I know," something like that. And it just kind of made me think of like the Joker and the Fool, you know, that kind of connection. So, you know, essentially the team ends up going against Coach Kilmer. This is just a clip here of, you know, my gift to you to Kilmer. F you, Kilmer. And here was the other thing I thought was really interesting was as Billy Bob is kind of drowning in his sorrows here in this scene, he says, "F you, Kilmer, and the horse you rode in on." Let's not forget that we're now in the year of the fire horse, right? Starting on Michael Jordan's birthday, number 23. This movie opens by saying, "I will bring number 23," right? And what else do we have here? Oh, yeah. So the other thing I just thought was interesting is that Van Der Beek's character is smart, so smart that he gets an academic scholarship to Brown University. We've talked about Brown University a little bit over the last year, especially because of the Brown shooting from last year. So don't forget about what I just showed here. Van Der Beek, who goes to Brown in this movie, shooting his coach, not literally, but the photo of his coach. His coach is getting tired of his character, essentially not doing the plays on the field that he's calling, right? And he threatens essentially that he's going to take away his scholarship to Brown. And it just made me think about this particular story back on December 13th. This wasn't that long ago, right? This mass shooting that happened at Brown University, you know, I mean, fast forward, 2 months later, now Van Der Beek is reported dead, etc. We got the horse themes. So before I dive into just the 2 other latest stories, let me just pause there. If you guys had anything else you wanted to add about just some of these things that I found watching Varsity Blues.
I'll just talk about the Brown because I did a lot of stuff from the Brown. So Brown University seems to be coming up. You talked about the shooting at Brown University, and here this movie, the character happens to have a scholarship to Brown University. And remember a movie you brought up, which is has a lot of really deep allegory and mystery school, secret society, symbolism and allegory, is the movie The Skulls, which it takes place at Yale University. In the movie, it takes place at Yale University, but they don't necessarily talk about Skull and Bones, specifically secret society, but that's actually who they are referring. They are referring to Skull and Bones. And so Brown, and again, shout out to Bobby Simpson, introduced the Brown lunation concept of astronomy. And Brown lunation, it's numbers given for new moons, starting at a certain time. So a Brown lunation refers to new moon. So when there's a new moon. The moon is at its darkest. It's almost no light reflecting off the moon. Think of like a brownout. And so it is, when you see brown, it's a direct moon reference. And actually on the decode I'm doing now, it's all about the moon, especially with Donald Trump as president, with as significant as he is. You cannot understate his significance historically. And even as we speak, he's doing a State of the Union address as we speak. So Brown is a moon reference, and Brown University came up in the skulls because, well, I think there's a full moon or a new moon at the time of the skulls. They actually say it on the radio if you listen carefully in the background. I think it was a full moon. There's a full moon over New Haven, they say. The actor who plays Will, there's a character named Will, which has to do with your will, a human will. That's why he's called that. The actor who played Will went to Brown University. And I've brought up in Rhode Island, because Brown University is in Rhode Island, in Providence, Rhode Island. Well, in Providence, Rhode Island, you also have Providence College, which has an NCAA Division I hockey team. And their nickname is the Friars. And Friars wear brown. And so there's a lot of, so Brown connects to the moon, the Friars, Providence College. They have an NCAA hockey team, which that's been in the news too, with the Rhode Island Duck, which is at the New England Patriots game. The New England Patriots went on to the Super Bowl. That same duck was at the Providence College hockey team as well. So just in general, there's Brown. There's also the fight between Jake Paul and the Anthony Joshua.
The brown shorts, right?
He wore brown shorts, but it was during a full moon as well. So yeah, when you see Brown University, it is a heavy moon reference.
Yeah, the True Baller, get the great addition here. Billy Bob Thornton, right, is now in a TV show called Landman. I know somebody else, NFL watcher, also points that out, that Landman is now or Landman, however you pronounce it, is a very popular show these days that Billy Bob Thornton is in, or Thornton. I'm probably mispronouncing it. And the show takes place in Permian, Texas. That's hilarious. Really? I mean, he was the head coach of Permian High School. So I don't know anything about that show, but thank you for bringing that to light. And the other thing, Rambo, I just thought about in closing on the whole Brown theme, it just makes me think back to last NFL season with the Cleveland Browns and the dog connections, right? The underdog connections. And in a way, James Vanderbeek's character, Jonathan Moxon, is an underdog, right? Like he's coming in as the backup quarterback and like he has to prove himself. And, you know, it's kind of an underdog story, let's be honest, right? Because they lose their best player and all those things. And of course he ends up going to Brown, you know.
Can I say something else?
So,
also,
of course, yeah.
no, I'll let Cody get in. I've talked a lot. I'll let Cody get in.
well, no, don't. You can finish, Rambo, and then
All right.
I'll make my point.
So just real quick on the name Thornton and the thorn, I guess, reference. You just had an image of a child on a crucifix playing Jesus, but Jesus is known for the crown of thorns. So what crown of thorns, Thornton? Yeah, I don't need to see that image anymore. That's good. I just wanted to. I just want to talk about. I just want to talk about Crown of Thorns. There's an animated movie that came out in 2026. It's called Goat. A goat it's relevant. Goat directly refers to sports. The Michael Jordan, he's been in the news. The animated movie Goat. The team, so it's similar to Space Jam, but there's no like. But it's a sports themed animated movie. But the star team, I guess, are called the Thorns. Stephen Curry, he does the voice for one of the characters there. But it's an animated movie called Goat. You can put that up if you want on the screen. On this, I don't know, maybe you don't want to change the screen, but The animated movie is called Goat, and it's out in 2026. And the star team is called The Thorns. I think it ties into Crown of Thorns, Thornton. It's a crucifixion, Jesus. The thorn also symbolizes pyramids. And shout out to my very intellectual patron, Casey. She educated that the thorn is actually a symbol for a pyramid, because a thorn kind of looks like a pyramid. And that's one of the symbols of the crown of thorns. It's related to pyramids, but crown of thorns, Thornton, and the Thorns are in a movie right now, animated movie, The Thorns.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like the pyramid on this kid's head, like later in the movie as he's creating a cult. You know, son, are you making are you creating a cult? Yes, I am. Oh, that's so sweet. As he's wearing that kind of thorn symbolism there too. I just want to point that out because there you go. Got a pyramid right on his head. But yeah, Cody, where you at, brother? What else you got?
Yeah, sorry, I was muted again. I always forget to do that, man.
No, you're good.
But so why? I guess I wanted to get this in here while we're on this topic with James, because this is all about James Van Der Beek. So,
right,
I had found something pretty crazy that I never shared, and I forgot about until we just started talking about this again. So I went on James Van Der Beek's Instagram. And I went through all of his posts. I don't know why. I normally don't do this when people die. I don't normally scroll through their whole Instagram posts. But in this case, I kind of did. I don't know why. But I ended up going to the very beginning. And within the first 7 posts on his Instagram, it's pretty interesting. Let me just pull up my screen so you can see it.
Yeah. Are you talking about his most recent last 7 posts or like the very beginning?
No, his first 7 posts on his Instagram, like the first ones he made, like not the recent ones, but the first ones he ever made. Before I do that, I want to type in this 2 words so you guys can see what I had found this before I found this post. But you'll notice that in Gematria, Hail Mary and Seahawks is what you would call a super match. So with that in mind, I was like, and this will tie in with the moon stuff, because the moon and Mary, of course, are very also connected. Because it is always a moon riddle. The moon is always so important, and I often don't talk enough about it, I think. But anyway, Hail Mary and Seahawks. So I was like, okay. I found that after the Super Bowl. Like after the game, I was looking into the Mary stuff. I was covering. I did like 3 or 4 videos on Mary, like Trump's mother, Mary, the Mother Mary movie coming out later this year. And I did all those videos, and I had found this, and I was like, okay, well, there's definitely something here. And I think now the more I've thought about it, I think the Seahawks represent the Mary stuff for some reason. I haven't fully figured it out, but anyway, I went on James Van Der Beek's posts, and of course, he died 3 days after the Super Bowl, and he died on the Seahawks victory parade. Well, in his first 7 posts, and let me just tell you how many football posts has he made on his Instagram? I think maybe 3. He seems to be a Packers or Brett Favre fan, because he posted 2 pictures of Brett Favre and a couple pictures of the Packers. But the most important post, it seems to be, in his first sports post on his entire thing. He posted a few hockey posts as well. But this stands out because this is a famous play at Seahawks Stadium called the Fail Mary. Do you guys remember this? Do you guys? A very, very famous play. I mean, it was before anyone was doing decoding, but it was after this time period. Let me just bring it up as it's basically a Fail Mary is known as the inaccurate reception. So you got your Immaculate Conception. was a play in the National Football League between the Green Bay Packers and the Seattle Seahawks on September 24th, 2012 at Century Link Field in Washington. On the final play, a tightly contested game, Seahawk rookie quarterback Russell Wilson threw a Hail Mary pass to the end zone intended for wide receiver Golden Tate. Both Tate and Packers defender M.D. Jennings got their hands on the ball while both players were still in the air and attempting to gain possession. The two officials near the play initially gave separate signals of touchdown and touchback before the ruling the players had simultaneous possession. Prior to the catch, Tate shoved the Packers cornerback Sam Shields. So basically it was a offensive pass interference. So long story short, this was after the controversy ended following weeks of criticism regarding the quality of officiating by replacement officials employed by the NFL during the 2012 NFL lockout season. 2 days after the game, the NFL and the NFL Referees Association announced they had reached an agreement to end the lockout. So anyway, I just find this mind-blowing, really, because I mean he died on the Seahawks parade, and his first post about sports on his entire page, and not very many were about sports, so just happens to be his he's at the Seahawks stadium, so it's not just he's going to Green Bay or anything. He actually went to Seattle for some reason.
Yeah, and Cody, all I was going to throw in there is that 84. That was the first thing I saw with what I just touched on about Ron Lester playing Billy Bob in Varsity Blues, and Billy Bob Thornton and Ron Lester both have that August 4th birthday. So there's your 84 right there too.
Yeah, and the 24 right there, of course, in that picture, that's a gematria of either, what is it, Seahawks or Fail Mary. Yeah, Seahawks.
Yeah, there you go. And Varsity Blues, right? I mean, Seahawks are primarily blue.
Right. So, yeah, this ties into basically everything I've been talking about with Trump's mother, Mary. Again, I believe that Trump's mother, Mary, is such a more significant figure than what anyone has given. I mean, anyone has really paid attention to up to this point. It just hit me like weeks ago. And ever since I've really looked at it, I've realized that this woman, regardless of whether she's real or what the story is, she's from Scotland. She's the Mother Mary. She's tied into so much of this. So, and you know, interesting thing about this year that I really want to bring up is that the Super Bowl featured Drake May, who wore number 10. Now, number 10 is, of course, the number 10, and May is, of course, the month of May. Well, who's born on May 10th? Trump's mother, Mary. It's born on May 10th. And this year, which doesn't happen every year, May 10th is Mother's Day. So this is a big riddle I'm going to be following for the next few months, because I believe, and you got the Mother Mary movie coming out, played by Anne Hathaway. And Anne is the mother of Mary in the Bible. So you got that connection. And right now they're looking for Nancy, the mother, and Nancy is a form of Anne. And again, Anne is the mother of Mary in the Bible. So, and Trump's mother's middle name was Anne, Mary Ann Trump. And so 510 is a big day to watch. And yesterday I had done a video about the number 510. I might as well just bring this up. I didn't want to take away from you or Rambo's thing, because usually I wait towards the end, but I'll just get this in because I think it's relevant. On this Nemesio thing, who just got, taken out supposedly. And this is about revenge, and the Seahawks got revenge on the New England Patriots. And Nemesio, of course, is derived from the Greek Nemesis, which is the goddess of revenge. So you got the feminine aspect there, the goddess, and you got revenge, like Seattle. But this was a big find I made that I think I wouldn't have made normally, because I normally don't look at the Greek when I'm doing decoding. But in this case, I looked at the Greek because I noticed that Nemesio was a Greek origin. So I was like, well, let's just check what the gematria of Nemesis is in Greek, which is the goddess. equals 510. And this just kind of blows it out of the water, because look how many days in office Claudia Scheinbaum was when Nemesio was killed. 510. And this just happened to be 510 days before Nemesio's 61st birthday, and 61 in gematria equals 510. And so tell me that cannot be a coincidence. I mean, that's crazy to me, that it falls 510 after she took office and 510 before his 61st birthday. Again, when you spell out the number 61, it equals 510. And again, 61, right? Super Bowl 61 is next. And it's got the wave, right, on the logo, kind of a feminine aspect as well. But not only that, the Freemasons equals 510 in Latin gematria. She's born on the anniversary of the Freemasons, June 24th, 1717. Claudia, that is. And not only does Nemesis equal 510 in Greek, so does Nyx, like Bo Nix. But Nyx is the goddess, the mother of Nemesis in the Greek. And, well, what does Nyx equal in Greek? It equals 510. So both the mother Nyx and the daughter Nemesis both equal 510 in the Greek, which is very rare. I mean, if you think it's rare to find a match in the Latin English cipher, I don't know how many times I've ever found a gematria match in a Greek or Hebrew cipher. It's very hard. But also, this broke out into chaos, and chaos is the Greek origin of Nyx. And so basically, chaos is the grandparent of Nemesis. So what a perfect riddle here, that Nemesis is killed, Nemesio, and chaos breaks out from this. And of course, that goes to the Greek mythology. Chaos is the grandparent of Nemesis. And night, think about Nyx and night, like the moon is the ruler of the night. The moon, Mary equals moon. Rambo had just brought up the moon. So if you type in Mary and moon, I mean, it's a super match. Trump's born on a blood moon. Here we are coming up on a blood moon. So watch out for this blood moon too. Also, Matrix equals 510, as well as, what was I going to say? So Matrix equals 510, and interestingly enough, this Nemesio killing was 77 days before 510, Mother's Day. And like I said, if you type in Matrix, it equals 510 and 77. And again, it was 77 days from Nemesio being taken out with the cartel to 510, Mother's Day. And Matrix, of course, is the womb, the mother. So that's kind of what I'll stop with there. But just the James Van Der Beek thing leading into the Hail Mary stuff, I thought it fit. So that's why I added it in here, because I think later on James Van Der Beek will be a little bit off topic, but this seemed to fit. And I think 510 is definitely a date to watch, considering all the mother stuff and that Trump's mother's birthday this year. Also, Alice in Wonderland, super connected to the Super Bowl. Alice in Wonderland Through the Looking Glass came out on May 10th. So essentially, Trump's mother, on her birthday, it came out, Alice in Wonderland Through the Looking Glass. So it's almost like Trump's mother is Alice in this. It's weird. There's some super deep symbolism here that's being portrayed with Trump's mother. So anyway, that's that. I'll stop there for now, but that's kind of the gist of it.
Yeah. Hey, Rambo, really quick before I pass things off to you, I just wanted to give a sincere thank you to Pale Horse Rider for the super sticker, the super chat. Much, much appreciated. Sincerely. Thank you so much for that. And then also, this one was directed to you, Rambo. We got a second super chat from Family First Cornell Misty. Rambo, your vid had Vulcan theme. The Seattle Seahawks are run by Vulcan Inc., and they won it all. Vulcan was made by Paul Allen Microsoft / Matrix, with kind of what Cody was just saying. So I just thought I would kind of tee it off for you there.
Yeah, a couple of thanks. A couple of patrons have brought that up, the Vulcan connection, but to understand the Vulcan connection, you'd have to see my video, which I put out on Sunday for patrons. So those who haven't seen the video maybe won't understand what does Vulcan have to do with anything, right? But in general, I'll say what Vulcan. So Vulcan is the Roman god who's based off of the Greek Hephaestus. And he's a fire god, but fire is a metaphor for invention and technology. Red is the color of technology and AI. Green is the color of humans and Earth. Vulcan, the fire god, and then fire is also a metaphor for technology and knowledge. That's the Roman god, brother of Mars. And their father is Jupiter, mother is Juno. The original archetype is known as Kotaru in ancient Sumer, or Kotaru Wahasis, not one of the better known Sumerian gods, but very, very significant. He's an architect. That's what AI, technology, so the architects are very important archetypes. Now, the reason Vulcan I brought it up is because the word volcano comes from Vulcan. That's where you get the volcano. He's a fire god. The Olympics the Olympic Games celebrate Mount Olympus. And the deities, the Greek pantheon lived on Mount Olympus. Now, where is Mount Olympus? That's mythology and symbolic. Are there really gods on top of Mount Olympus? Well, where is Mount Olympus? It's in Greece. I don't think they're referring to that Mount Olympus. Again, this is where Olympics comes from. There's another Mount Olympus, I guess, and that's in my video, which is what the viewer was talking about. There's another Mount Olympus, and I think that's the one they're talking about, on Mars. The biggest volcano in our solar system, as far as they say, we can't go out there and prove it, but the biggest volcano, which is more than 3 times the height of Mount Everest, is on Mount Olympus, which is on Mars. So they use the Latin term for Mount Olympus. They call it Olympus Mons. That means Mount Olympus. And I believe that is the Mount Olympus that they're referring to. And another thing too is you look in the tarot, the tarot card that represents the planet Mars is the Tower. Now, what does the Tower have to do with anything? The Tower and Mars, how are they connected? That huge volcano, that mountain that's more than 3 times the height of Mount Everest, that's the Tower. And it's on Mars, which is why the Tower tarot card represents Mars. It's a reference to Mount Olympus, which is on Mars. It's a volcano, and that's where you get Vulcan, and that's why it's tied into the Olympics, because it's Mount Olympus. And so that's my explanation as to why he was referencing Vulcan and why it's relevant, because we just had the Olympics. And this is my interpretation, is that's Mount Olympus, not the one in Greece. It's the one on Mars. Why did they name that Mount Olympus? Why? They could have named it anything else. There's already a Mount Olympus. They didn't name it. They're not Mount Everest on some other planet. That's the Mount Olympus. And so Mount St. Helens as well. Mount St. Helens, yes, some of my patrons have commented how Mount St. Helens is relevant. And what's the capital of Washington State? Because that's where Mount St. Helens is, in Washington State. Olympia, Washington. So, and yes, Mount St. Helens eruption is related as well, which ties into the Olympics, Olympia. And it'll also tie into, this is actually a good segue to go into my presentation.
Yeah, perfect. Let's do that. Yeah, I just want to shout out Decoding Our Reality. I know KODI pinned this just a moment ago, just about the USA hockey team winning the gold back in 1980, right? Same year that Mount St. Helens erupted as well. So
Absolutely.
In May, by the way.
in May, yeah, there you go. It wasn't the 5th, right, or the 10th that you were just talking about, was it?
No, if it was the 10th, I'd be mind blown. But it was, I think it was
Yeah.
the 18th.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken. I'd have to look.
I think it was the 13th. And so Jack Hughes, and this is a shout out to BPM. He's just a brilliant commenter. He did in the comments. He did a whole decode. I can do a whole video on his decode. It's basically decode in the comments section. And he talked about how Jack Hughes' birthday is the day after the anniversary of the eruption of Mount St. Helens. So Vulcan volcano has everything to do with it. That is the real Mount Olympus. It's the one on Mars. That's the one they're celebrating. And that's in my video.
Okay.
But,
Rambo, can I add this while you're on this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because something I missed, which was big, is that when this person just died, or when this hockey game just happened, it was exactly 13 Martian years after 9/11.
Yeah, it all revolves like, okay, you keep pointing out the Mars stuff, which illustrates the importance of Mars. So if all the counts you do, don't you see like Mars is the one that keeps coming up? And I think Mars is just super relevant.
Yeah.
And I can refer people to a book. The book is by a PhD, by an academic, and the only reason I know about this book is because it was recommended to me by an academic, by an Ivy League college professor, because I had told him I was criticizing academia, like academia draws the line when it comes to conspiracy, and they have this idea that there are no conspiracies. And he said, I said there's certain areas academia won't go, and then he told me, no, you're just ignorant. Academics do go in these areas. You say they do question mainstream, and they do accept conspiracy. You're just not aware of them. And then so he showed me a book as an example. So the book is called "Humans Are Not from Earth." It's by Ellis Silver, who's a PhD, who's an academic. And it's very referenced to why, and his premise is that humans evolved on Mars and then somehow came to Earth. And this is by a PhD. This is by academia. I didn't think academics did this sort of thing until my friend told me. He said, "No, yes, academics do this sort of thing," and it's pretty fascinating. I didn't know that. So Mars is very relevant. So I think part of the reason, and KODI illustrates this repeatedly, so many major events are timed with a Mars anniversary and a Mars count. And why is Mars so relevant? I think Mars is. I agree with KODI. The moon is relevant. I'll talk how the moon is relevant here as well. But Mars, and also shout out KODI. It's one of the still to date the most mind-blowing. KODI does a lot of mind-blowing stuff. But the mind-blowing thing he did when he talked, KODI, you remember this when you looked at the Eiffel Tower and you looked at the name Eiffel, and you thought, well, Eiffel sounds like I full in English, and then what did you look? Did you look up Eiffel Tower and then you looked at a translation? How do you say EYE full in French? And you did the translation. It's les yeux pleins, and les yeux pleins was a super match with Eiffel Tower or Eiffel Tower? I can't remember.
I can't even fully remember. I think it was the French. I think it was the French translation of Eiffel that was the match with Eiffel Tower. I'd have to go back and look, but yeah, there was a. I do remember that. That was pretty. Like that was around the time of the Olympics. I think the Summer Olympics in 2024. So.
Yeah, so it was les yeux pleins, and then it was I think it was Eiffel Tower, but that did confirm that they are coding EYE full. I mean, for me, that's the most mind-blowing thing KODI's about. He brings up a lot of mind-blowing things. I still can't get over that one because it ties right into the tarot. In the Aleister Crowley Thoth deck, the tower, which represents Mars, has the eye on it, the all-seeing eye on it, ties right into what KODI discovered. It's amazing how it all synchronizes. So the all-seeing eye and Mars are also related. And so there's a lot more to Mars. This may seem out there, but I suspect there is intelligent life on Mars. In fact, human. I believe technology is so much advanced in what they let us know. I think there is, and I think that's one of the places the Earth is being watched from is Mars. But I can segue into I'll just do a 40. It's a 40-second intro to my the video which I dropped Sunday. Just a 40-second intro, the shortest intro I've done, and then I have a decode after that.
In ice skating, she has the details. Kelly, please take it away.
This was one of the most shocking moments of the games.
Yeah, that's it. That's the intro. Short and sweet.
Makes me want to watch.
Yeah, thanks. It took me a while to find that lightning strike sound effect. I already had a but yeah. So yeah, that's the video. So that's what the person who commented on Vulcan, that's in the video. So this presentation here has to do with the Olympics hockey, and the just concluded 2026 Winter Olympics, where you actually saw mirror images. You had the United States women's hockey team play the Canadian team in the gold medal game. It was 1-1 in regulation time, and then the US won it 2-1 in overtime. And in the men's game with United States versus Canada, you had a game that finished 1-1 in regulation time, and the United States won it 2-1 in overtime. It was identical. And in both games, the star players for the United States were the goaltenders. It really focused on the goaltenders. They were the stars of both games. They were actually the main reasons the United States won both of those titles was their goaltenders. Just amazing games. And this is also, my decode here is also based off of this decode that I did titled Parsons. We talked a little about Parsons already, Jack Parsons, and how he's related to the moon. And those Micah Parsons was the big story in the NFL with the blockbuster trade with the Green Bay Packers. We were just talking about the Green Bay Packers and the fail Mary. And Mary has a lot to do with this. So the moon is a big part of this decode. This is also based off of those who saw my presentation last week on this show of Michael Jordan, whose Daytona 500 23-11 team just won its first title. He co-owns 23-11, but you see, it's named after him. Number 23 in the black and red Chicago Bulls colors. A big theme here, and you can see with Jordan hugging this trophy and just NASCAR in general, is the chariot. I've talked about the chariot. If there's so many symbols, the all-seeing eye, the twin pillars. There's so many ubiquitous symbols. I would say the twin pillars in the eye are central. The chariot is right up there. So many major events revolve around the chariot. You can think of the shooting of Rene Good in the car. There's George Floyd was in the car. It's all about the chariot. Even George Floyd's funeral, he was in a stage coach pulled by two white horses, which is the symbol for the chariot in a lot of tarot decks. And he had the golden coffin, which represented the sun. But this chariot symbol is super, super relevant. And it has to do with the wheels and rotation. The way I see it is rotation leads to manifestation. There's no coincidence that on the Aleister Crowley, the Chariot card, you can't really see it too clearly, but it says abracadabra on it. And that has to do with manifestation. So the chariot is simple, and Michael Jordan is directly related to the chariot. Michael Jordan's father is said to have passed away, been killed after a carjacking, and the image after the death of Michael Jordan's father was his red Lexus. It's all about the chariot with Michael Jordan, just everything. You can't underrate this symbol. It's just related to the moon because the chariot, well, I'll get into it. And Michael Jordan is the GOAT. And I see the Michael Jordan looming over everything. The biggest sports event in the world is the FIFA World Cup of Soccer every 4 years. It'll be hosted in 2026 in the United States under Donald Trump, which he had to do the split term so that he could be in office while the United States hosted the World Cup. You talk about a massive, you could call it Loosh farm. If you're not familiar with the term Loosh, it was developed by Robert Monroe. It's a theory, but it's human psychic and spiritual and emotional energy, which certain entities which have some influence on those who influence the world, direct influence on the world, that some entities feed off of it, especially the lower vibrational Loosh. But anyway, what sports does is it concentrates high levels of human energy in one location, and the World Cup takes the cake. I gave an example last week just to show you an illustration how much human energy, especially soccer, takes. Soccer has cast a spell on the world. But the Super Bowl, I think the audience was 150 million or so in the United States. And worldwide, I don't think it reached 200 million worldwide, which is a good 150 plus million is a lot. There's a regular season game in the English Premier League. It's not a final, not a cup final. It's a regular season game. It was between Liverpool and Manchester City, and it drew under 800 million for a regular season Premier League game. You got like 750 million plus worldwide.
I can't even wrap my head around that number.
That's just a regular season game in the Premier League. Now, the World Cup will just take it to another level. If you want to harvest Loosh, the World Cup, there's nothing like it. If you want to harvest human energy, and again, that's a theory. People can decide what they think about that. I mean, Robert Monroe, is he connected to the CIA? Yes, but everybody's connected to something. Everybody's part of a secret society or connected to a Rockefeller, or funded by a Rockefeller, or connected to everybody. I mean, if you ignore everybody who has the connections, well, then who do you go to for? I guess you're just relying on yourself and meditation and your own epiphanies. So yes, you do consider everything, but the Loosh, I think there's a lot to Loosh, and that's why sports is so important. I hate to really focus on sports all the time, but hopefully, for people who are not into sports, they can appreciate how sports it transcends sports. The themes and the archetypes that go into it has to do with more than sports, and you'll see how it synchronizes with politics, mythology, popular culture. So it's not just about sports. And the GOAT. So who's the GOAT? Michael Jordan is the GOAT. There are many GOATs of sports, greatest of all times. The GOAT is Michael Jordan. Where's 23? The next World Cup is the 23rd World Cup. And of course, a country that qualifies for the first ever World Cup was Jordan. Of course, the country of Jordan, their first World Cup is the 23rd World Cup. So Jordan, the GOAT, has a lot to do with this. And then a shout out again to BPM. I shout him out a lot. Brilliant patron and commenter. He talked about how the logo for the 2026 Winter Olympics, the Milano Cortina with the 26. The 26, I didn't see this. He saw it. He actually saw a Capricorn logo. If you turn it, this is Capricorn. Capricorn's the GOAT symbol, and this is the glyph for Capricorn. So I did that. I turned the glyph, which I wouldn't see a BPM side, and I saw, yes, this does look like the Capricorn glyph. It's 26, but it kind of looks like a 76. So that ties into the GOAT. Capricorn's the GOAT. And so this is the GOAT. This is a GOAT, if not the GOAT, of women's hockey. This is Hillary Knight. Remember last week, if you remember last week's show, I talked about the knight symbolism. The knight. When you're knighted in Britain by the British monarchy, you get the title of Sir. If your title Sir is you were knighted. So a knight is Sir, and the term Sir comes from Sirius. It's the first three letters of Sirius, because Sirius is related to higher consciousness and just again an elite status. That's what Sirius is associated with, and that's why you get Sir. And to get the title of Sir, you have to be knighted in the tropical zodiac. Sirius is in Cancer. It's 14 degrees Cancer right now, which relates to Michael Jordan because he was born with Sirius rising on the eastern horizon at the time of his birth. So that's why he's so quoted with Sirius. So Michael Jordan's the GOAT, and he looms over everything, Michael Jordan. This is the GOAT of women's hockey. This is her last Olympics. I think her first Olympics, she was 16 years old. And now she's 36. And this is her second win. She scored the tying goal at the death. So it was Canada was leading 1-0 with like about 2 or so minutes left. And time was running out. The United States, in an emergency situation like that, what a team does with they got nothing to lose at this point, they pull their goalkeeper so they have an extra attacking player. So when you're in that situation, you're pretty desperate. It was at the death. It was pretty dramatic. Hillary Knight scored the tying goal to make it 1-1 to send it to overtime. But this is where the shadow of Michael Jordan, I see Michael Jordan everywhere. I can't escape Michael Jordan, looms again. So she's a cat. So she's a cat. Well, just to give an idea, the way to describe her, she's regarded as Hillary Atwood Knight is an American ice hockey player who's a forward and captain for the Seattle Torrent. Here we are back in Seattle. Funny how we keep going back to Seattle. But yeah, she plays for the Seattle Torrent of the Professional Women's Hockey League. She's also the captain of the United States Women's National Ice Hockey Team, widely regarded as one of the greatest players in women's hockey history. So she's a GOAT, like Michael Jordan. And look at her birthday. Her birthday is the reflection of Michael Jordan's. So Michael Jordan's birthday is 217. Hers is the reflection, 712. And a 712 birthday makes her a Cancer. July 12th. That's also Julius Caesar's birthday. They say Julius Caesar was born on either July 12th or 13th. It's famous as Julius Caesar's birthday. So she's a Cancer. The ruling, they say planet, but it's a planetoid of Cancer in the tropical zodiac. The ruling planet is the moon. So this has a lot to do with the moon. And in 2026, on March 3rd, there will be a, is this 2026? A new moon. I'm sorry. Yeah. So in 2026, the new moon, there was a new moon on Michael Jordan's birthday this year. And remember, he just won the NASCAR 2 days before his birthday. On Michael Jordan's birthday was a new moon in 2026. And then March 3rd, this is the blood moon that's on 3/3. Blood moon on 3/3. Yeah, you think some rituals are going to happen on a 33 master number and a blood moon? Yeah, I think this is a date to look out for. But who knows what will happen? Might not be something we notice, that they'll do something. But there's Michael Jordan again, a new moon on his birthday this year. And so here's again the Chariot. Cancer is represented in tarot by the Chariot card. I've talked about the Chariot. The Chariot's about rotation, and look how he's dressed. He's a knight. So the knight is very relevant here, and he has the starburst on his forehead. That's Sirius, because Sirius is in Cancer. And so this is a huge number, which there have been, especially in 2025, there were a lot of Chariot rituals. The Chariot sums to 53. That's in the Pythagorean cipher. And this comes up a lot, the Pythagorean or reduced. Here's an example of how clearly 53 is a number. In this famous Disney character is a humanoid Volkswagen Beetle named Herbie. So there's a remake. This is a Disney remake. Lindsay Lohan did the remake. Look at the randomly chosen number for Herbie. The Chariot is 53. Disney chose 53. They know all about gematria, and they know all about the tarot. Because the Chariot this is the Chariot, 53. Herbie is 53, not randomly chosen. Just to give you, I did other stories. I just talk about Liverpool, how They can play a regular season game and get 750 million worldwide. That's one of the biggest teams in the world. Liverpool. They won the Premier League last season at their victory parade, and the city of Liverpool is on the 53rd parallel. The 53rd parallel north. Liverpool is on the 53rd. So a lot of cities in England are on the 53rd parallel. At the victory parade in Liverpool on the 53rd parallel, a 53-year-old man he mowed down some people at the victory parade with his car. It was a Ford Galaxy. He was 53. So that's how this number comes up with the chariot, and Disney knows all about it. And they all know all about Gematria and the tarot. And the chariot is Cancer. Now, the United States men won on February 22nd. This is very important to the chariot.
I just want to shout out Mr. S. Just pointed out that Lindsay Lohan is also a Cancer.
Oh, wow. Great. Do you know her birthday?
If you didn't,
I didn't know that. No. That's
no, let me pull it up.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
Lindsay Lohan sign. Yeah, she's a Cancer. Let's see, birthday. July 2nd.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, that's a great observation. Absolutely. Yeah. So they don't randomly pick who's going to be in what movie. And it's all about the chariot, and it's all about Gematria, 53. The United States won on February 22nd. We know what day of the year that is. For those who want to jump ahead, guess what day of the year February 22nd is? On February 22nd in 2005, this is a really big hit, a really nice song, very melodic. I like this song. It's by Gavin DeGraw. I guess this is the one song he's known for. He released a song called Chariot on February 22nd in 2025. Why did Gavin DeGraw release the song Chariot on February 22nd? Well, it's because February 22nd, and I do not have the graphic here, but February 22nd is the 53rd day of the year. I don't have the graphic here, but it is. It's the 53rd day of the year. You can it's easy to calculate. It's 31 plus 22. January has 31 days. 31 plus 22 is 53. February 22nd is 53rd day of the year. Everybody's conscious of this 53, tarot, the chariot, Gematria code. Now the U.S. national men's team honored a hockey player who passed away last year. His name was Johnny Gaudreau. He played for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Him and his brother were cycling. It's all about cycles. On some tarot cards, they use a bicycle as the chariot. So what the chariot is about, it's not so much the chariot per se, the cycle symbol. Like that's, if I'm going to choose one symbol that's at the center of the web, esoteric web, it is the cycle. And so that's what the chariot is about. The chariot's about the wheels, anything with wheels, bicycles. Johnny Gaudreau and his brother were on bicycles, and they were hit by a chariot. That was a big chariot related event. And they honored him with the Olympic win. Was somebody going to say something? I thought.
Yeah, Rambo, this is mind-blowing because I just told you. Oh, my goodness. I just told you. So this 13 sitting right here.
Yep.
This is again, if you go from 9/11/01 to this exact day, it's exactly 13 Martian years, guys. I mean, that's mind-blowing because why is this? I mean, of course, we know Johnny Gaudreau died, but I mean, just the fact that it would land on this day and that this is the jersey they'd be holding up with this number. Yeah, I got it. If I could just put it up on screen so people can see it real fast.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I think that it, let's see here. Yeah, there it is. So exactly 13 Martian years from 9/11 to that to them holding that 13 jersey up. I mean, come on. And you guys remember last year when I said Trump was going to turn 42 Martian years, and on the exact day he turned 42 Martian years, he attacked Iran, and Iran equals 42. So yeah, this is just and man, and I somebody had mentioned this in somebody's comments, and I didn't even catch. Normally, I catch this stuff, like I catch the significance of these astrology, you know, these Martian birthdays or Martian things, but I completely missed it. So thank you to whoever that was. It was in somebody else's comments and not even in mine. I think it was in Dr. Savage. Shout out to Dr. Savage. I think it was in his comments. Somebody had left that 9/11 had turned 13 Martian years, and then I had said that a little bit ago, and then Rambo brings up this picture with them holding up the number 13, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, anyway, that's all I got, but that has to be a big part of it. So
Yeah, thanks. So 13 relates to the moon. Again, Cancer is ruled by the moon. The moon rules Cancer. And the moon has 13 cycles. So that the moon calendar is 13 months. 13 is a huge moon number. That's how many cycles the moon has. So yeah, the moon has a lot to do with this. And again, the moon rules Cancer. Cancer is the chariot. Johnny Gaudreau died on bicycles with his brother, hit by a car, hit by the chariot. The chariot is a central theme, but it's all about the cycle. So 13 is a cycle number. Those are 13 moon cycles. The central symbol is the cycle more than anything else. We're talking about
Rambo, could I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Not trying to get ahead of your presentation. I'm not sure if you have it in here, but I think we very quickly talked about it last week. But it makes me think of that song "Chariots of Fire," and that's it's almost kind of like the serious Chicago Bulls theme. It's like so iconic. Yeah. In the world of sports, right? Do 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 do, right? And they like slow down players and they're like running really slow, right? So it's like a big like sports kind of song. And I was just curious if you've even taken a look like into where this could kind of all fit in, especially now that we're in the year of the fire horse and Chariots of Fire and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, okay. So absolutely. So Chariots of Fire, the movie and the song, is about the 1924 Olympics Games, which were held in Paris, and about two members of the British Olympic team. So Chariots of Fire is all about the Olympics. So that's super relevant. It is all about the Olympics. And it was held in Paris. We were just talking about the Eiffel Tower and the Tower and Mars. And who does the Olympics celebrate? Mount Olympus, not the one in Greece. I'm pretty sure they're not talking about the one in Greece. They're talking about the one on Mars. There was no reason to name a mountain Mount Olympus on another planet. We don't see Everest on any other planet, or any other Mount Sinai. Is there another Mount Sinai somewhere? Mount Olympus that's the Mount Olympus is the one on Mars, and that's the tower. And the 1924 Olympics were held in Paris. That's what Chariots of Fire is about. It's about the 1924 Olympics. It's Chariots of Fire. It's all about the Olympics. So on the 100th anniversary of the 1924 Olympics was 2024. So they had the Olympics in Paris again, because they're very conscious of that. And who's the chief god of Olympus? It's Zeus. Zeus is Jupiter, and so that's supposed to be Zeus's abode. And 24, the number 24, I don't have the graphic up here, but the glyph for the planet Jupiter looks like a 24. And they even did that when Paris was submitting its candidacy, which is, there's no candidacy really there. There's no competition. It was pre-planned probably 100 years ago that Paris would host it. So they went through the whole charade of cities submitting bids. They'd already determined. They actually took a Jupiter glyph. Paris chose a Jupiter glyph to promote the 2024 candidacy for the Olympics. And who's Jupiter? Zeus. Where does Zeus live? On Mount Olympus. Where's Mount Olympus? On Mars. It's a volcano. But So yeah, that's how chariots of fire come in. So the chariot also represents, now multiple Greco-Roman gods are pictured with chariots. Like most of them are, especially Pluto. Pluto's known for chariots, but I think the most significant chariot god is Helios, the Greek sun god, because Helios is fire. It's four horses on fire and a fiery chariot, and Helios himself is fiery. So if you want to talk about chariots of fire, that's the image of Helios, who's the Greek sun god. Remember when I talked about George Floyd's funeral? He was in a golden casket. He was the sun. He was in a carriage driven by two white horses. That was the sun cycle. That was Helios. So the more than anyone else, the chariot, I think, primarily symbolizes Helios, the Greek sun god. Again, there's a moon cycle, sun cycle, is all about the cycle at the end of the day. So yeah, that's where chariots of fire comes in, which I can even branch off on that. It is related to they don't say UFO anymore, they say UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon, which is coming to a head now. I've been talking about the UFO thing. It's going to be an issue. It's going to be the big issue, regardless of what you think. If you think it's all fake or they don't exist, the world will have to deal with the UFO issue. There's been a groundswell. There have been literally thousands of testimonies as far as eyewitnesses in various positions, people in the know. Some will say they've had hearings too. There was one a couple of weeks ago, and I shout out one of my great patrons, Janet, let me know in the comment section live. Like, by the way, YouTube is streaming a live hearing in Congress on UFOs, UAPs, and extraterrestrial life. And of course, it was full of disinformation. UFOs exist. Intelligent life other than humans exist. They know that, not just the United States government, Russian, European, Chinese, they know it. Now, multiple, I know this is kind of branching off, but that's what Chariots of Fire is about. This is going to be
I'm sorry. I don't want to take you off of your presentation. It just, I thought it was fitting just with the whole chariot theme. And to your point, yeah, that's what I was thinking of that song. I was like, I always see it when the Olympics are on, so thank you for that background.
So I've talked about chariots. So Chariots of Fire, that came from the original Chariots of Fire, I guess, theme, motto, image, came from the Bible. And that was Elijah. So Elijah was surrounded by the Syrian army. And his servant freaked out and said, we're done for, we're dead. Elijah was calm. And Elijah said, do not worry. And then the servant said, how can you not worry? We're surrounded by the Syrian army. And Elijah said, because it might have been Elisha. There's Elijah and Elisha. They both saw Chariots of Fire. I think it was Elijah who said, no, we're fine because the sky is surrounded by chariots of fire. That's what he said. Chariots of fire surrounding the sky, which are outnumbering and much more powerful than the Syrian army. And he could see them. So that's actually talking about perception in 3D, which I do talk about in my video. Dimensions are a big thing now. 3 dimensions, 5 dimensions. If anything is above 40 or 5D, 40 is like astral projection. The 5th dimension and higher cannot be perceived from 3D. And this actually ties into the Chariots of Fire and UFOs. So this technology that's available that humans haven't been talked about, haven't been exposed to, which will blow people's minds. And I guess for a lot of people, they just can't conceive it and just ignore it. Well, look at the technology we have now, 50 years ago even, or 100 years ago, nobody could conceive it at all. Pulling something out of your phone, talking to somebody on the other side of the world in real time, and it talks back to you. There used to be that show Knight Rider, where the car talked back to its owner, and everybody laughed at it. Well, cars can talk to your owners now. They talk to you all the time. There's technology that's mind-blowing, people won't conceive. So UFOs, some of them can move in and out of dimensions. This is all about dimensions. When they're in the 5th dimension from 3D, you cannot see them. As soon as they hit 3D, the United States, especially, and other governments will shoot them down. Their technology is improved. They'll shoot them down. That's why they stay in 5D and they have shot some of them down, and do have some of the intelligent life. They have them in captivity, right? And this is going to be a big issue. So that's what the chariots of fire are. That sounds like that's exactly what is described in the Bible. Elijah and Elisha could see beyond 3D. They could perceive 5D. So their third eyes were open. Remember the all-seeing eye on the Mars card in plein des yeux? There's les yeux pleins, eye full tower. It's all about dimensions and being able to perceive beyond 3D. When you're in 5D, 3D cannot even perceive you or touch you or anything. So there's a theory that UFOs are actually present in and around Earth, but they're in 5D, so they can't be seen. And yeah, this is coded into a lot of what they do. Again, BPM, I shout him out a lot. He talked about 2 deaths that happened within 4 days. One was the singer of 3 Doors Down. BPM astutely said 3 doors is a reference to 3D. And I talked about in the Renee Good shooting how her license plate ends with 3D. They are coding 3D, and I showed the single eye symbolism they did in Minnesota with ice. 4 days apart from the 3 Doors Down lead singer dying was the death of the lead singer of Fifth Dimension. This is not a coincidence. 3D followed by Fifth Dimension. They're coding it. And again, if things like this are so advanced, I guess most people just won't really grasp it. It's like asking someone 100 years ago to grasp a cell phone technology and AI. But there'll always be super advanced technology that will blow away what you know about now. Well, this is it. Other intelligent life forms are, some say, thousands of years ahead of humans, but humans are catching up really fast, which is bad news for the universe. But that's a chariots of fire kind of the detour we took there, but that's okay. It's relevant. People are going to have to talk about the UFO. In fact, Donald Trump, he just talked about releasing UFO files, Epstein files, UFO files. Yeah, it's all happening now. But this is the Aleister Crowley. On the left is the Aleister Crowley Thoth, the chariot. Like what is emphasized here? The wheels. And the knight is holding the wheel. These are knights. And there's the crab, which represents Cancer. And you can't really see that too clearly, but if you can get a blow up, or you can see closely, it says abracadabra over here. It's hard to see, but it says abracadabra. And what I say is rotation leads to manifestation. This is all magic. And remember who the GOAT of women's hockey is, and she scored the tying goal, is Hillary Knight, and she's a Cancer. That's all quoted here, and Cancer is the chariot, which is the knight. Yeah, she happens to be a Cancer. In the Pythagorean cipher, Moon is 21. It's a very important value here. What do you think Hillary Knight's jersey number is? 21. Moon rules Cancer. And that was the score of the men's game and the women's game. The USA men won 2-1. Canada won 2-1. And the GOAT is 2-1, which is Moon, which rules Cancer. And
shout out Dr. Savage. Sir.
Oh, sir. Okay, that's a good one.
Talk about the sir things. Yeah, I like that one. That's a good one, Dr. Savage. Thank you.
Okay. He's on a roll tonight. He usually is. Thanks. So in 2 other base ciphers, reverse simple and reverse Pythagorean, Moon, is 51 and 15. So Hillary Knight scored record-breaking her 15th career Olympic goal by far. I mean, she's way ahead of, I don't know who's second place. She's way ahead. She has scored 15 goals in her career. This is her last go round, but she ends with 15 again, which is a moon number, and she's a Cancer, which is ruled by the moon. And it's her 33rd Olympic point. On 3/3, March 3rd this year, there'll be a blood moon. So here's a Cancer, Hillary Knight, coded into everything. Plays for Seattle as well. And why is Seattle relevant to the moon as well? The Seattle Seahawks just won the Super Bowl. Their defense is nicknamed the Dark Side The dark side is a reference to the moon because you only see one side of the moon with that faces Earth. The moon doesn't rotate. It's a reference to the dark side of the moon. That's what the dark side of Seattle Seahawks defense is. That's another moon reference. Hillary Knight, of course, plays in Seattle. She scored 15. Hillary Knight sees record for most goals in U.S. Olympic history, 15, a moon number for a Cancer who wears 21. Moon is 21. The coding is off the charts. So the 15 and 51 in a 24-hour clock, 1500 hours is 3 o'clock. So 1551 will be 3:51 p.m. That brings up an iconic picture, one of the most iconic pictures in sports of the GOAT, Michael Jordan. This is from 1988 NBA All-Star Game dunk contest. It was a classic contest between the two finalists were Dominique Wilkins of the Atlanta Hawks and Michael Jordan. It's a spectacular final. How do you think Dominique Wilkins was actually the better dunker? Because this is just you're basing it on artistry and athleticism. That's all it's almost like figure skating. You're judging it on the athleticism. It was in Chicago. I mean, if it was close, if Dominique Wilkins was only a little bit better, he was never going to win. It was in Chicago, but nonetheless, they gave it to Jordan. And this is one of the most iconic pictures in sports history, and the clock is relevant because it's 3:15, and this PM. Obviously, you didn't have this at AM. It's PM, which in the 24-hour clock is 1551, which are moon numbers. It's 1551.
Well, 351, not 315. 351.
I'm sorry. Yeah. 351. Yeah, that's 1551. Those are both moon numbers.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not here. This is kind of, it's not, I don't have the graphic for this, but also 351 also just happens to be, if anyone wants to do the calculation of, oh wait, no, okay, I'm not sure about that one. Okay. I need to look that one up.
Isn't that like if you take the entire alphabet or the entire alphabet, you add it up, you get 351. Yeah. It's the 26th triangular, right?
Right. Yeah. There's that as well. Yes.
And 26 letters in the alphabet, etc. Jordan equals 26.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Like, so it's A plus B plus C plus D, which is 1 plus 2. It's a triangular number. Yeah. 26 triangular. Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's 351. So another hero here was the scorer of the winning goal for the women's team, which was Megan Keller. She scored in overtime to make it 2-1 for the United States to clinch the win. Megan Keller. And what's her birthday? 5-1. The moon day. Now 5-1 in the United States. Outside the United States, they put the day first. It's 1st May. So her birthday is the moon numbers. Her birthday is May 1st or 1st May. So they really coded this. This is the moon has everything to do with this victory. She scored the winning goal, Megan Keller. And this brings up Jack Parsons, who I've talked about. Jack Parsons, JPL, Jet Propulsion Labs, is actually an occulted homage to Jack Parsons. JPL is Jack Parsons Labs. They'll say it's Jet Propulsion, but Jack Parsons was an occultist, and he was a member of Aleister Crowley's Thelema, and he freaked out Aleister Crowley. Aleister Crowley said, yeah, he's a member of Thelema, but he's too out there even for me. Imagine what it takes to be too far out there and to freak out Aleister Crowley, of all people. If you can freak out Aleister Crowley, you're at another level. Well, that's Jack Parsons. Jack Parsons, I'm talking about Parsons, Micah Parsons, the NFL, he considered the best defensive player. Only Myles Garrett got the defensive MVP, but Micah Parsons, certainly, he took the headlines this year as far as defensive players with the blockbuster trade from the Dallas Cowboys to the Green Bay Packers. Then he had the dramatic injury on December 14th, and he was out for the season. But he's certainly someone to watch with that name, Parsons. So Jack Parsons. So one of the things Jack Parsons, controversial things he did with his colleague, L. Ron Hubbard, was what they tried to do was to create a moon child, to manifest what they called Babylon, Mystery Babylon, basically a female moon child who would then birth the Antichrist. So Jack Parsons is associated with the Antichrist, and the Antichrist in 2026. Yeah, I mean, we're in some interesting times. Is front and center in mainstream news, the Antichrist, with Peter Thiel talking about the Antichrist. The Antichrist is mainstream now, and Jack Parsons is front and center of that. And we saw the cover of The Economist magazine for the year 2026 preview. It's full of rockets. So Jack Parsons' expertise was rocketry, and it's full of rockets. And I think look out for the Houston Rockets, just for all this coding that I see, the Rockets, the Jack Parsons, the moon emphasis. Look out for the Houston Rockets. When I first did this code, the Rockets were good. They were a good NBA team. They've been steadily climbing since I did this decode. The Rockets are now contenders, Houston Rockets. So look out for the Rockets just on that theme. Look at the Economist cover. It's full of rockets. And so, again, so this ties into the dark side of the moon, which is also known as the far side of the moon. There's a crater on the far side, or the dark side of the moon, named after Alan Parsons. Parsons is an impact crater on the battered far side of the moon. And it says the International Astronomical Union named this crater in 1972 after the rocket engineer and occultist Jack Parsons. So Parsons and the moon, which does tie into Michael Jordan, because the theme song for the Chicago Bulls during the Jordan era was the song Sirius by the Alan Parsons Project. Again, Michael Jordan's connected again. Another thing, too, is when Kobe Bryant was inducted into the Hall of Fame, of course, he wasn't there to be inducted. It was his wife, Vanessa, and Michael Jordan. On that same day, that not only was there a Mars Moon Sirius conjunction, the Mars, Moon, and Sirius were all in conjunction when Michael Jordan inducted Kobe Bryant into the Hall of Fame. But the Chinese Mars rover was also landing on Mars at the same time. So it's not separate. China is not separate than the United States. There's one overarching authority that they all answer to. China had to coordinate that with the induction of Kobe Bryant and the alignment, Mars, Sirius, and the moon, and the NBA, and Michael Jordan. It's all together. It's China. It's the whole world. And so Jack Parsons and the moon, Alan Parsons Project, who did what is now been adopted as the Chicago Bulls theme. It'll always be known as the soundtrack to the Michael Jordan dynasty. It'll always be known as that from the song Sirius, the Alan Parsons. Well, Alan Parsons also worked with Pink Floyd as a sound engineer for Pink Floyd's big hit song, The Dark Side of the Moon. So Alan Parsons and Moon, you see how it's all connected with Jordan, the GOAT, and the hockey. Alan Parsons, writer of Chicago Bulls theme song, and former Beatles engineer, Sirius. So Alan Parsons and the Bulls, that's their connection. Goaltenders are a big issue, but I talk about Jack Parsons. So this is somebody I brought up earlier, and this is another team to look out for. NCAA Division I hockey. When I first did the decode on Parsons, I saw that, and we're talking about Providence. We're just talking about Providence and Brown University, and the shooting in Providence, Rhode Island. Providence College, which is near Brown University, has a Division I NCAA hockey team, which is a very good team, and their goaltender is Jack Parsons. Goaltenders are a big issue here, because who are the star players for the two U.S. gold medal Olympic teams of men and women? It was their goaltenders. Their goaltenders were the stars of the show for both of them. And there's something about the goaltender, because the goaltender for the Providence Friars, Friars wear brown, is Jack Parsons. Of all time, with all the Rockets, on the cover of The Economist and all this moon symbolism, we have Jack Parsons. I think he might be a first or second year. He's either a freshman or a sophomore, so he still has a couple of years. But Jack Parsons is the goaltender for Providence College. Just ties right into Jack Parsons, and his number is very relevant. He wears jersey number 30. Jack Parsons, number 30. 30 is a big part of this. The hero for the United States women's hockey team was their goaltender. Her numbers are off the charts. She faced 99 shots throughout the Olympic tournament and conceded 2 goals. She took facing 99 shots. And in the final, her name is Erin Frankel. She made 30 saves in against Canada in the final. 30 saves. Jack Parsons wears number 30. Jack Parsons. And he's the goaltender for Providence.
Hey, Rambo, if you wouldn't mind, I want to just chime in here for a hot second, just with what you're pointing out right now in this presentation. And Cody, please back me up here. Was it not 2 or 3 episodes ago where we talked about the Mighty Ducks and the hockey themes, and how in the Mighty Ducks, Goldberg gets replaced by a female goaltender?
Oh, wow.
Right? And she comes, she's much better than Goldberg. I'm already blanking on her name. Cody, I don't know if you remember, but you know, I just think with a lot of the things that Rambo's been talking about with kind of the 2 males and a female connection, fire and ice, sun and moon. I just thought it was worth kind of just bringing this back to the forefront. Not to mention her last name is Frank, Frankel. You know, so going back to the Donnie Darko bit, but you know, I just wanted to throw that in there really quick.
No, yeah, that's a great. That's something to look for. Maybe Cody, look it up, or look at who played that. But there's the theme of the female goaltender.
And the Mighty Ducks in the second movie, they play for the U.S. and that was a big issue with Charlie Conway. Right? Was that I want to wear the Ducks uniform, and they're like, well, no, we're playing for our country, right?
Yeah.
So just in light of everything that happened on Sunday.
So along the lines of what you mentioned, fire, ice, sun, moon, male, female, yin yang. The females won their game on Thursday. The males won theirs on Sunday. So the females had, a time off. Also, the female season, professional hockey season, starts on Thursday. The male season, the NHL, starts back up tomorrow. The females have had more time. They won theirs earlier, and their season, their league season starts a day after the males. So this is the male-female contrast. Donald Trump invited the males to the State of the Union address, which he's doing tonight. And the males enthusiastically agreed. And he did make a comment. Trump made a comment. He said, he said, but I have to let you guys know, because after the U.S. hockey team won in the locker room, Kash Patel popped up, the FBI director, acting like a frat boy.
I remember, I saw that. Yeah.
He's talking and acting like a frat boy. Like, man, this guy.
He's like shotgunning beers and stuff. Like it was like,
yeah. So he's suddenly acting like he's 17 years old all of a sudden.
Right.
And so he had his cell phone with Donald Trump talking to the team. And one of the things Donald Trump says over the phone is, I have to let you guys know that I have to invite the women as well. And what Trump says, so Trump is saying that he doesn't really want to. He says, by the way, I'm going to have to invite the women. That's what he said. And he said, Trump said jokingly, if I don't, I'll be impeached. So Trump is saying, I'm forced to invite the women, basically what he's saying. He's implying he doesn't really want to invite them. So what actually ended up happening was the women turned down the invite. I don't think the players have any say in the matter. I mean, these things are decided by higher powers. Yeah. I'm sure there might be a couple of males who maybe don't like everything that's going on and don't want to, because you're being used. Let's be honest, regardless of where you lie on the political spectrum, to bring a hockey team that just won an emotional, dramatic win. And let's face it, the whole world is against the United States. The United States is the villain in the world. The whole world is rooting for Canada. It's just and Trump was just talking about invading and annexing Canada as well. In fact, one of the players made the joke, close the northern border. And the thing is, the U.S. player who said close the northern border as a joke plays in Ottawa. So there's all that going on. Yeah, so I could see how there probably are a couple of hockey players, grant even if they don't mind celebrating with Trump or visiting the White House afterwards, fine. But to State of the Union, that's different. Trump is not doing well in the polls. That's an understatement. He needs a boost, and he's using them. But the players, some players, even some who actually might have voted for him, might not like being used. Like, what human likes to be used like that? You're being used. You can visit the White House afterwards. Fine, that's perfectly okay. Visit the White House and be honored at the White House. Maybe a little parade or something. Not a State of the Union. State of the Union is where the president has to make the case for himself for the job he's doing.
Right.
And
hey guys, look at me. By the way, you guys saw that the US just won the gold, right? Hey, come out here, guys. Come out here, like as I talk about myself, right?
Yeah, so he wants to associate himself with other people's valor. That's their accomplishments. That's their valor. Yes, did they go out and win for the United States? Yes, they did it. They went through what, and we know there's a lot more than just practice and determination and character and belief.
But no one would have done it without me. If it wasn't for me, we would have lost. The game would have been over before it started. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing.
You got to do the gestures when you do that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a
right?
That's a pretty good Trump impression. That's pretty good.
Yeah, thank you.
No, that's pretty good. So that's what he's doing. He's stealing their valor, and we talk about this. There's a lot more behind the scenes that they don't tell you that you have to give up to get to this. We know what we're talking about in this community. We talk about it, and some of them, I'm pretty sure, went through more than just having the skill and the ability and the other quote unquote sacrifice. A lot was done to get there. They paid the price. Now he takes the credit. He's stealing other people's valor, which he's been known to do. State of the Union is not the place for this. Visit the White House afterwards. You don't do that State of the Union. State of the Union where he's making a case for himself, which that's what presidents can do. That's where they can, if there's negative stuff, they put the spin on it, and they have their party support them and applause. This is not his victory. He has zero to do with this, but some people, and it does work. I mean, that's how human psyche is. Human psyche is fragile.
Rambo, I would disagree. We wouldn't have even qualified.
That's good. That's pretty good. Okay. No, that is a good impersonation.
All right, I'm done.
No, that's a great contribution. This is what me and Cody were talking about. When you're not there, this show's not the same, man. You bring no, honestly. So going back to Frankel, the star of the show, Aaron Frankel, the goaltender, made 30 saves in the final, which is Jack Parsons' number, the goaltender for Providence Friars. Now, when I first talked about Providence Friars in my Parsons decode, which was back in December 2025, I looked it up, and the Providence Friars were ranked 17th in the NCAA Division I rankings. So I said, last week I said, let me see how Providence is doing. They could always have dropped and then maybe just no longer contenders. Now they're 7th the last time I looked. Providence Friars are contenders for the NCAA title this year. And Jack Parsons, number 30, and the number 30 goaltender for the females, Aaron Frankel, made 30 saves. So just to just reiterate, the women declined Trump's invitation. They have an extra day to get back to their league. They have till Thursday. The men have to get back tomorrow. The men agreed, and on either side, the players had no say in the matter. If you're a male, you show up at the State of the Union, unless you really want to make a statement, which they have to get permission to do it. The secret societies run the show. You don't want to, when you're in that position, you don't want to go against what the secret societies want. You show up at the State of the Union. And the women, maybe some of the women probably are MAGA. And as much as you want to go, the women are not going to go. It's not their decision. So that's a male-female yin-yang. Women decline and the males go. And Trump always talked about he didn't really want to invite them anyway. It's like, as you know, I'm going to have to invite the women because I'll be impeached if I don't. So he made it clear that he didn't want to invite them anyway. That's part of the yin-yang Civil War uh, you know, conflict that they're promoting now. They want us fighting amongst ourselves. If you identify as a male, identify as a female, Democrat, Republican, conservative, they do racial stuff. He puts even he didn't do it. His staff, I'm pretty sure he didn't even know what's going to happen. He woke up one day and said, "By the way, you just put out on Truth Social a picture of Barack Obama and Michelle Obama as monkeys." He probably just told that. He didn't even know that. Like, by the way, yeah, and you're going to have to own it. Again, secret side on the show. You can't say, I didn't do that. No, you have to own it. I'm pretty sure that came as a shock to him. But that's part of the, this is the infighting that they're promoting here, the divide and conquer on so many levels. And male and female is one of them. So along the lines of the 30, and going back to Michael Jordan, when Michael Jordan celebrated his Daytona 500 win, this is from GQ magazine. He wore a super expensive watch, and it's called His Airness chose a Global 4C double tourbillon 30-degree technique watch. That's some lingo, watch lingo. But the only thing that makes sense to me, it's relevant, is the 30s. It's a double tourbillon 30-degree technique. That's 30, which is relevant to Michael Jordan, who's the GOAT, who's in the middle of all of this. There was a documentary about Jack Parsons. It was titled Jack Parsons, Jet-Propelled Antichrist. I got it from IMBD. Jack Parsons, Jet-Propelled Antichrist. Well, in the reverse Sumerian cipher, Jack Parsons, Jet-Propelled Antichrist sums to 3030. So 30 is this thing here with Jack Parsons, the goaltender. Jack Parsons wears number 30. Jet propels Antichrist. The Providence Friars men's hockey home arena has a 30-30 seat capacity. Schneider Arena in Providence, Rhode Island.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Oh my God, man.
30,030 seats. Yeah, this was in my decode back, my Parsons decode back in December. So it's good to repeat stuff because even I forget stuff.
Yeah.
And even
people, it's coming back to me. I'm just like, oh, that's right. I was like, why is this 30-30 coming back to me right now? And there it was.
I'm sure there's a connection, but I couldn't tie it in. Wasn't there was it the Bills and the Broncos? Weren't they tied 30-30 in regulation in the playoffs? I think they were 30-30, but I don't know if there might be a connection there. But
that wouldn't shock me. I mean, all I think about is 113, right? Because isn't that the 30th prime?
Yeah.
So, we know like there's a lot to be said about 113, but
so yeah, 30, 30,
and 33, obviously.
Oh yeah, 33 is in there too. Yeah. So yeah, there will be a blood moon on 3/3 on March 3rd this year. Watch out for that date. So yeah, that's the arena. 3030, home of the Providence Friars. Jack Parsons, Jet Propelled Antichrist is 3030. And who's the Friars goaltender? Jack Parsons. You can't make it up. Who wears number 30? And the U.S. goaltender women wears jersey number 30 goaltender. I mean, I'm just making the observations here. I can't make this up. I'm just connecting the dots. I'm just the messenger.
Well, you brought up Steph Curry earlier. He wears 30 for what it's worth.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah. He does the voice of the giraffe character for the Thorns team in the GOAT. So the animated movie's out right now, 2026 is the movie's called GOAT, which is relevant to Michael Jordan. Speaking of Michael Jordan, I said he looms over everything.
Which equals 113, where 113 is the 30th prime.
Yeah, that's a good
there you go.
I'll write that down real quick. Because I'm going to do a full decode on this. These decodes, they can go on. I do a 10-hour decode on this. 113, 30th prime. Okay, yeah. So Jordan looms all over this. Like I said, the next World Cup is the 23rd World Cup. It'll be all about the GOAT, Lionel Messi in soccer. Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo are the two GOATs. And they are in line. The way they've done the brackets, they could meet. And I think they will because it's all about the GOAT. It's Michael Jordan. It's the 23rd World Cup. So the U.S. Hockey goalie hero, Aaron Franken, who made the 30 saves. What do you think her middle name is? Jordan.
I was literally going to go.
It's an Aaron Jordan Frankel. Again, you can't get away from the GOAT.
My second guess was going to be Goat.
Yeah.
What if her middle name was Goat? That would be hilarious.
So how long did Providence Friars go between NCAA tournament championships? They won it in 1985. Then they won it, which was their most recent win, in 2015. It's 30 years apart. So there's that number 30 again. And again, I haven't checked. The last time I checked the standings, and again, it's just standings, but at least it confirms if you're in the top 8, you're a realistic contender. And the Friars, when I first did the Parsons Deco, they were 17th. Now they're 7th, so they're just getting better. A team to consider. I don't do a betting channel. I don't advise betting, but all I'm doing is observing. Providence Friars are in the news, even with the Duck, Don, who was at the New England Patriots game. The Patriots went on to the Super Bowl. Don was, after being at the Patriots game, showed up at the Providence Friars hockey game as well. So the Providence Friars are in the news, and goaltenders are in the news. And they won it. Here's another 30 years apart. There's something else about the song Chariot. I believe it's right. So the song Chariot was another 30. The song Chariot was released in 2005 on February 22nd. So February 22nd, Chariot was released. And that was, this is kind of off. There's so many things here to remember. And so the U.S. team won it 21 years later. So I know I'm kind of going back, but it's an important fact. We're talking about the 21s and how Hillary Knight wears 21. And it's a moon number. Where's the 21s? Okay, well, Hillary Knight wears 21. Moon is 21. Hillary Knight wears 21. So the song Chariot was released in 2005 on February 22nd. The U.S. men's team won February 22nd, 21 years later. So on the 21st anniversary of the release of the song Chariot. Again, so yeah, I had to put that in because that's a big one.
Hey, Rambo, really quick, man. With what you were talking about the number 30 and Jordan, and hopefully I'm not intercepting an alley-oop.
No, it's fine.
Pass to you right now. I just wanted to point this out. I was just looking at the word 30 and the word Jordan.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
Yeah, and it's not a Grand Slam match, right? As you like to say, but you can see right there, there's quite a bit of overlap here. 30-100, just like Jordan. 62, just like 30. 26, the reflection, and 37. So like just in the base ciphers, Jordan and 30 share a lot of overlap. Yep. Just with what you've been talking about. So I just want to point that out really quick.
Yeah, thanks. And so 30 is it's a number. And with hockey. Now this brings up, I'll bring up Jack Parsons. KODI brought this up, and shout out to, because KODI is giving credit to Sean Desad, who's talked about the Moonchild. So shout out to them. Jack Parsons' letter. It's a Jack Parsons letter. It's a letter by Aleister Crowley, and Crowley is the one who does the tarot deck with the Thoth tarot deck. He has the knight holding the spinning wheel with abracadabra on it. And Jack Parsons managed to freak out Aleister Crowley, which, I mean, I don't know what you have to do. I mean, if anyone you think you couldn't shock him, it would be Aleister Crowley. And Jack Parsons managed to do that. And so this is a letter by Aleister Crowley showing his concerns about about Jack Parsons and L. Ron Hubbard trying to conjure a moonchild, which they call Babylon, B-A-B-A, Babylon, who would then birth the Antichrist. And this concerned Aleister Crowley. And so this is the letter by Aleister Crowley. And not to get into the whole letter, but basically it is about, I want to see where he mentions, he does mention, I was delighted to have, I mean, I don't want to look for it now, but he's mentioning Jack Parsons, basically. He is mentioning Jack Parsons and L. Ron Hubbard and what they're trying to do, which is bring in a moonchild. And this is the date of the letter. It's 14. It's outside the United States. They put the date first, 14th June, 1946, which is Donald Trump's birthday. Yeah, so this is dated on Donald Trump's birthday, and on this day there was a blood moon when Donald Trump. Now, what a blood moon is when you have the sun and Earth in between, and then the moon. So you have an alignment of the sun, Earth in the middle, and the moon. What happens there is that Earth casts a shadow onto the moon, giving it a reddish appearance. And that's a blood moon. It's a full moon. And yes, on this blood moon is Donald Trump's. So Donald Trump is associated with the Antichrist for this reason, through Jack Parsons and being born on a blood moon, whatever that means, Antichrist, symbolic, or whatever that means. And Antichrist is now, with Peter Thiel mentioning it, it's become mainstream. And South Park did their whole skit on Peter Thiel and the Antichrist, and they mentioned Trump in it in very unflattering terms, I would say. South Park did a skit. They're talking about Donald Trump and associating him with the Antichrist and Peter Thiel. So this is mainstream. And you can see how Crowley ends it. He says, "Yours ever 666." And, that can mean many different things. The 1661, that he's writing to Grady McMurdy. That's an interesting number, 16 and 61. That's the Tower card in tarot, 16. The next row will be 61st. 16 and 61 are the biggest Mars and war codes that they are. And yeah, so this is that letter. And so 666, well, you think of it being associated with the devil. Well, think of who Jack Hughes, the winner of the scorer of the winning goal for the United States team. Jack Hughes played the New Jersey Devils. Think of the 666. So, and the Moonchild thing. So yeah, I'll leave it there. There's more Moonchild connections.
Babylon also is kind of like baby. You kind of got baby right in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll leave it there for now. There's a lot more, but I'll leave it there for now.
There's always more. There's always more. Yeah, Cody, where you at, brother?
Yeah. So this 30 ever since Rambo said this, I've been off on my own page looking into this 30 stuff, because these are one of those things where it's like, yeah, I mean, it's undeniable with this. So I was just kind of looking into, I was trying to find the goalie's birthday, Jack Parsons, and trying to put Jack Parsons' birthday in there, trying to see if I could find anything. There's probably something. I might be overlooking something too, but the first thing I can say is probably that. Well, one thing I want to mention before I get to that, going back to Aleister Crowley and kind of everything Rambo talked about, somebody in the chat had said earlier that recently the team, very famous tag team from the WWE, had retired.
Team 3D, right?
Yeah, but more yeah, they're known as Team 3D, but they're more commonly known as the Dudley Boys. That's how most people would know them. But yeah, Team 3D. But the reason people know them by Team 3D as well, because their finishing maneuver, their finishing move is a 3D is what's called. There was 3 Dudleys. I think that's one of the reasons they called it that. There's supposedly 3 people in their group, but the main 2 are these 2 guys here. Anyway, they retired last year at Bound for Glory, a TNA show. It's not WWE. Of course, TNA is kind of now working. TNA is a separate company from WWE, but they're kind of working together with WWE now. So they're kind of connected, the 2 companies. But anyway, they retired on October 12th. So that kind of ties in with Aleister Crowley, because Aleister Crowley's birthday is October 12th. So Team 3D retired on Aleister Crowley's birthday. So I don't know what that might mean, but that's because I know you were Rambo. You were talking about the tarot cards from Aleister Crowley. You were talking about the 3D, and then somebody had brought this up, so I thought this might be something to look into. Also, just to show that this is them, you can see them here. Team 3D. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say about that, but that might be a lead for you, Rambo.
Yeah, in general, there'll be coding dimensions. Like you brought up John Cena, how he said, "You can't see me." Remember that?
Yeah.
And he has an illustration of a door. Well, that door, that's what the Twilight Zone used to use in their posters, was a door. It's a door to another dimension.
Right, yeah.
Like the doors are 3 doors down. And you can't see me. That's what I was referring to. When you're at 5D, from 3D, you cannot perceive 5D. So that's what John Cena was talking about when he said, "You can't see me." So the inference there, and also with the door is it's a door to the 5th dimension. And in 3D, you can't see somebody in 5D. So it looks like WWE is doing you'll see a lot, and it ties into the UFOs, UAPs. They're in 5D.
Well,
and can't
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this seems to tie in because, John Cena retired basically 2 months after them. Interesting, because there's 2 of them. He retired 2 months later, pretty much exactly 2 months later. And also, just recently, another wrestler retired, AJ Styles. And AJ Styles, they retired in TNA. These two, they're from WWE. They're famous for their WWE, but they retired in TNA, which is kind of, again, like a more of a less big company. But AJ Styles, who just retired this past month, he also got retired by Gunther, the guy who retired John Cena. So, Gunther actually has retired 3 wrestlers. Wait, three wrestlers, like 3D. Gunther has retired 3 wrestlers in the last year. In fact, I think, so Goldberg, the wrestler, the very famous wrestler Goldberg, he retired him last year, Gunther, and then he retired John Cena, and then he just retired AJ Styles, which AJ Styles is considered the GOAT of TNA, like John Cena's considered the GOAT of WWE. So anyway, there's that theme, and then so something with the retirement, maybe like they're retiring the 3rd dimension. I don't know, maybe there's something there.
Hey, Coach, really quick, brother. With the whole Trump wrestling connection, let's not forget that Trump was also in WWE.
Right, yeah, at WrestleMania 23.
Yeah, and I just want to say that because it made me think about that whole clip of him in that Serta commercial talking about 3 doors down.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I was like, is he standing 3 doors down from the Pillars of the Sheep? And I just wanted to point this out really quick, and I'll pass it right back to you. Like, if you look really closely, so he's standing at this door, but he's if you look at the lights and the doors, he's standing 3 doors down the hallway, I guess.
Yeah.
Is all I really wanted to point out there. That's all.
Yeah, and
for what
when that 3 Doors Down singer died, I was thinking about this kind of symbolism too, with this 3. I mean, I wasn't thinking necessarily exactly 3D, but I was thinking like 3, like a dimension, or 3, something like that. And it kind of reminds me of right before. Actually, it actually makes a lot of sense, because I believe that when you guys remember when Pope Francis opened the 5 portals, or the 5 doors, at the end of 2024 going into 2025, and it was the 5th door. They had never done a 5th door before. They do it every year, I guess. They open these portals or whatever, or these doors, and it was the first time that it would ever been 5 doors. So it was like a 5D riddle, right? and he opened that final 5th door on the 5th day of 2025. And so
That's weird because time and 25, right? Time equals 20 and 25. Shout out Rambo for all the stuff with that.
Yeah, and so the 5th door on the 5th day, and right after that, I mean, like literally right after that, the WWE debuted on Netflix, like their actual full debut on Netflix, which was a big deal. And it was like literally the next day, January 6th, I think, after that 5th door was opened. So I think that's really another thing that's tied into this 5D thing with the 5 doors that were open. And that 5th door was a what was it? It was a prison, right? It was a, and again, if you go back and look at the articles of it, it will say, you know, I mean, it will say it was the first time, you know, that I think they ever did that. Let me see if I can just see if something comes up here where it explains it. Yeah, Jubilee of Hope. Pope Francis designated 5 holy doors to open in Rome. Crossing these doors during a jubilee is a Catholic tradition. So, opened by Pope Francis on December 24th was the first door, and the final was closed on January 6th. So, the opened, I think he did something on January 5th, but I guess it closed on January 6th, which was again the exact same day that like if you look at
the insurrection.
Well, yeah, the January 6th, yeah, that connection as well. But if you look at the WWE that day, they had that big WWE Raw Netflix debut. I had talked about this because John Cena was there. Of course, this was way before he retired, but notice how they're kind of tearing open a veil or coming through a door, right? This is Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, and Bianca Belair. It looked like they're tearing open a dimension or tearing open a door. So this is at the same time, right? That's why I say WWE is so like their stuff is so on point and so deep. And it's been a while since I did a WWE decode. Actually, it's been a good minute for me to not talk about them. But yeah, so this is kind of like something I was thinking as Rambo was talking with the 5th door, and then the Dudley Boys.
And for what it's worth, at least with like a ring, you know, it's not wrestling, obviously, but I don't know if you guys heard this. Did you guys see that Floyd Mayweather is going to have a rematch against Pacquiao?
Oh, really?
That was just announced like yesterday or something. That's pretty new.
I didn't hear that. No.
I think it's like September is when they're going to do that. So let's keep an eye out on that one too. Anyways, no, just a side note. And
then just on the topic of Jack Parsons, and then Jack Hughes, of course. And then there was this other Jack Hughes that we mentioned that people have mentioned. What's interesting, actually, this is pretty interesting because this other player. So for those of you who are not familiar, the goal scorer for the Team USA the other day was Jack Hughes. Well, if you go back to the 1980 Olympics, there was another player on that team, Jack Hughes, who got cut before the game in 1980. And this guy's born on the moon landing date. So think about that for a second. Jack Parsons, moon landing, rockets. This Jack Hughes from 1980 is born on the moon landing. Well, before it, actually. He's born 12 years before it.
I just wanted to show a quick little screenshot here. It was also included in the movie Miracle.
Yeah.
Where they show that he was slashed out. So that's something that a lot of the community has been freaking out about is, oh my God, there was a Jack Hughes on that Olympic team that got slashed. And then I just included an image here that they won the gold 132 days before Independence Day. Big number for United States of America.
Yeah, and that was at 132. I had a few things of that. It's been a number that come up a bit recently. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I know Roman Catholic equals 132 or Catholic Church equals 132. I think both equal 132.
Yep.
And it was all synced with another thing that happened recently as well. But yeah, and I just found it was interesting, you know, that the moon landing connection with Jack Hughes, Jack Parsons, the Providence thing also ties to John Cena a bit. You know, John Cena, his retirement match was literally right on the Providence, the Brown shooting, right, which is near Providence, right? So, and WWE has had a few shows in Providence as well. I'd have to go back and look at those. But anyway, I was looking at Jack Parsons, the goalie, and his birthday supposedly is January 15th, 2006. I don't know if you caught that, Rambo, but his birth year is the same year they released that Antichrist movie. Jack Parsons' Antichrist movie.
2006.
Yep, same year.
And it's now the year 26, so I don't know if that means anything.
That's also the birth year of Baron Trump, who I think is another character that I want to spend way more time, like, really diving into more. But Baron Trump being born on Thalima's, what's it called? Thalima's, what's it called? Something about the gods. I can't remember what that it's Thalima's like main holiday. It's the day that they received their Thalima.
Rambo, to your 26 really quick, I'll just say that the movie Miracle, right, about the U.S. Hockey team, that movie was released on February 6th, 26, back in 2004.
Oh yeah, the equinox of the gods. That's what Thalima called it. Of course, it's to go with the equinox, but so Baron Trump is literally born on the Thalima date. So that's something, and the reason that's important is because, you know, the Moonchild, with Trump being connected with that, you also have, and Trump, of course, being the father of Barron. Well, Barron has that very significant gematria. Baron William Trump equals 235. I think this is like a huge piece here because 235 is the Metonic cycle. It's 235 lunar phases. It's the Metonic cycle. So that's the moon, right? Moon child. Trump's moon child connection, and then his child is the 230. And Melania means dark. So dark side. And remember, when Trump got sworn in this year or last year, instead of wearing like the first time they had their inauguration, Melania was wearing like a light blue festive color. And now this time in 2025, which was exactly 666 months after the moon landing, by the way, when Trump was sworn in on January 20th, that was the day she wore the dark side. That was like the beginning of the dark side. Melania means dark, and she brought in the new presidency with the dark side. So it was like telling us that this is the dark side of the moon. Whereas the first presidency was I guess you would say, the light side of the moon. But this new presidency was the comeback or the revenge. And that's why I think the revenge stuff is coming up, because of course Trump has come back. He's taking revenge on certain people. And there's even a book called Revenge about Trump. And this presidency started with the dark side. And remember, the dark side is about the revenge of the Sith. And the whole Super Bowl with the Seahawks was tied to the Star Wars theme and the dark side defense. So that's kind of all tied together. But anyway, that kind of ties in with all of it. You know, the Aleister Crowley stuff, the moon landing, the dark side of the moon, the revenge. And I know I didn't talk about it, but I was just bringing that up because this guy that just died, he's born on March 24th, not too far off from that time period. Interesting too, because March 24th is actually the birthday of the other Parsons from The Big Bang Theory, the actor who plays Parsons in The Big Bang Theory. His birthday is March 24th. Oh, and yeah, somebody's in the chat saying Jack Hughes has the same birthday as George Lucas.
Yeah, shout out Agent D911. I just wanted to make sure that I got that up there too, just in light with everything you guys have been talking about. That's a great addition, Agent D. Thank you.
Yeah, and again, this Star Wars theme. Again, let me just lay out the revenge theme for people who are confused. The first thing we noticed was, of course, I just mentioned Trump coming back, kind of taking revenge. But then you had, and I'm sure there's a lot of things that I've missed over the last years or so with this revenge theme, but recently it's been more prominent because you had the Seahawks. The articles after they won was all about their revenge on the Patriots. And then later you had the United States when they beat Canada. There was articles saying on ESPN, I think even said revenge from last year's loss on the what they call it, the Four Nations tournament. And then right after that, you had the death of Nemesis or Nemesio, who was killed by Claudia Scheinbaum and the Mexicans. And his Nemesis is literally the goddess of revenge. And then the day after that, the next day, this guy dies, Robert Carradine, and he's very famous for being, I mean, everyone was saying Lizzie McGuire, but he was in all of the Revenge of the Nerds movies. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, well, this is truly a revenge theme. So if anyone in the chat or you or Rambo or AJ sees anything about revenge, make sure you drop it in my comments, because I'm sure I've missed some things that I could probably put together here, but I haven't even had a chance to look into this guy. Or
isn't there a Star Wars movie called Revenge of the Sith? That's
what I mean. That's what I brought up, is that.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
When the Star Wars, sorry. Yeah, that's when the Star Wars theme happened at the Super Bowl. I had done, even on one of our streams, I think I had brought up a connection with the Revenge of the Sith movie. And that's the movie where Anakin Skywalker turns to the dark side. That's like the movie where he literally turns.
I just thought of this. So the Chiefs, 3 Super Bowls ago now, the last time the Chiefs have won the Super Bowl was in Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
And they call that arena Allegiant Stadium. Oh, here we go with the camera. They call it, what do they call it? The Death Star in Las Vegas. Exactly. So that was the last time the Chiefs won their last Super Bowl. And then who got their revenge? The Eagles the next year. Right? Wasn't it Chiefs Eagles in Las Vegas? Chiefs beat the Eagles that year? Or am I think that's what the matchup was.
No, Vegas was Chiefs over 49ers.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Oh, the Niners. Well, I know that the Eagles have had to go through the Chiefs several times, and eventually they broke through. But I want to say the Chiefs did get a Super Bowl win against the Eagles, and then the Eagles got their revenge, right? Yeah. So like I'm just tying in this revenge theme with the Star Wars and the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's probably a lot of different games over the last, there's probably a lot of different sports events over the even before this came to my attention. I'm sure this theme has been going on, because again, you just get these themes,
So the revenge theme is philosophically, it's tied into the Antichrist theme, because who is anti-revenge? Whose philosophy was against revenge? The revenge was considered just. It's considered justice. It's considered equal. Jesus came along, and he got rid of the whole notion of revenge. And he said, and think about the image of Jack Hughes with the broken tooth. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. That's revenge.
Yeah.
But
Oh, that's a good one.
and so right, but that's against Christ, because Jesus came in with a new philosophy, which is against the notion of revenge, which is a much higher, way higher level of consciousness.
Turn the
So
other cheek, right?
it is related to Christ because it's against Christ. So yeah, so Christianity, I guess, yeah, there are many other spiritual beliefs and systems, but I guess that's the famous one. I guess the most recognizable philosophical opposition to the notion of revenge. It's Christ. It's a very Christian concept.
It makes me wonder if this is kind of a theme of, because the goddess Nemesis, again connecting to the Mexican drug lord that was killed, it's like you mentioned, Rambo, it's about balance. It's not just about revenge, it's about divine retribution, or in a way to balance things out, and which are to the point which people who are too haughty or too prideful are brought down, which is a satanic, tied to the Satan reference as well, the falling. Also the tower, the tower is like a striking down of the pride. The tarot card, at least, like it looks like the pride falling, so there's this, like, and it makes me wonder if with this Trump stuff, him coming back in and being kind of like, prideful and being arrogant and getting his revenge and doing the things that he said he was going to do. And then maybe there's going to be a point where eventually he's going to be brought back down to, I don't know. It's kind of makes me wonder if there's going to be a theme that plays out over the next couple of years with this, this theme.
Yeah. So on the balance, so the Christian notion, introduced by Christ, is that revenge is not justice, or I guess some people would have seen it as justice. Oh, well, something was done to me. As long as what I do is proportional to what was done to me, then it's fair. And then Jesus is the one who came along and said, no, that's not, you're actually sinning. If somebody harmed you, you harm them back. You're sinning when you harm them, regardless of what they did to you. You are sinning. So I think there's kind of it's almost like an upside down notion. There's like a higher consciousness notion of balance, and a lower consciousness level of balance. A lower consciousness level of balance is revenge. The higher consciousness notion of balance is karma, pretty much, or divine justice.
Yeah, and when I was reading about Nemesis, the goddess, it kind of made it, well, it's also an arch enemy, right? So that's interesting as well. Divine retribution, vengeance, and emotional balance is kind of what tasked with punishing mortals for arrogance. So it's kind of a, I don't know, kind of a higher, more like the gods are bringing down the humans for, kind of trying to be, godlike in a way, or that's kind of what I got from it. And also kind of makes me think of balancing things out, not necessarily just retribution, but like kind of the people on the planet that are more poor and have less, they get their due, because, you got the rich ruling over the poor. And so kind of more of a balancing out of the fairness of the whole planet in general.
It's
so
kind of
I don't know.
Underdog theme, right?
Yeah, I guess it could be similar. I think there's many different ways. There's different ways you could look at it for sure. But this is definitely a theme.
I just want to shout out BPM really quick, just pointing out that Jim Caviezel played Jesus, but he was also in the movie The Count of Monte Cristo with Leo DiCaprio, from what I remember. And God Will Give Me Justice was written on the prison wall. So just something to think about. Thank you, BPM. Sorry, Coates.
No problem. That's pretty much all. I mean, the Jack Parson thing I was going to talk about, but I think I'll just leave that, because I don't really have anything. I did notice that if you measure from, just want to hit this real fast. If you measure from I think it's the death of Jack Parsons, the cultist, to the birth of Jack Parsons, the goalie. If you measure it in days, it's the 2220 prime, which is interesting because the 222 just played out, the other day with the hockey. The Olympics was on 222. So I thought that was interesting. And the 222 is in general a big number. Order out of chaos, 222. As above, so below, 222. Yeah, so there's been a lot of 222s. Yeah, and Rambo had that on there as well.
Yeah, I just want to point out the movie Miracle, right? It was by Disney, and I saw this earlier. Disney's Miracle 222.
Right. Yeah.
And
yeah, of course, both of those. And it's just fun. It's just pretty obvious to me, that that big upset from the United States back in 1980 was on 222, and then this year was on 222. Of course, that's George Washington's birthday. So isn't it just so fitting the United States has their glories on George Washington's birthday? And it might have something to do with all this ice rivers stuff too, because George Washington, known for crossing the Delaware, which was probably pretty icy during the time which he crossed it, right? So ice hockey, ice, all that stuff that's been going on.
Agent D had a nice addition here too. USA won gold on 2/22, 26, 22 years, 2 weeks, 2 months after the Miracle on Ice movie came out.
Wow.
Can't get away from those 222s. Thank you, Agent D.
So I have another connection to the justice theme. I also just realized I'm wearing brown today. I didn't even realize. I was talking about brown. I did not realize. Yeah, I didn't. Some people may think that was part of it, and so I didn't. I did
that too, Rambo. I was talking about the mother thing, or the Hail Mary and the mother thing, and today's my mom's birthday. I it's not that I forgot. Don't worry, guys. I wish my mom a happy birthday, but on the stream I had forgot, because here it's already the 25th, so I was forgetting. But happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday, Mama Codes.
I know you're not watching this, Mom. My mom's not watching this probably, but in general, I just thought it was funny that the mom thing came up on the stream today and I didn't even intend to connect it. And my mom's birthday is today, so happy birthday.
Yeah. So along these lines, among the lines of the divine justice as opposed to revenge, it does tie into some of the things I've been talking about. So I've done decodes. I've done several decodes, a lot of decodes of the very esoterically coded Aaron Judge, one of the biggest stars in Major League Baseball for the New York Yankees. And his name Judge is what I've talked about. And in the Greco-Roman tradition, who is the judge? Saturn is the judge, even in the Hebrew Greek. So yeah, going to my screen, because Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees, the Major League Baseball channel, their YouTube official website, posted this picture after the United States team won. So it is a picture of Jack Hughes, the hero who scored the winning goal. He's a number 1 pick overall in the draft in 2019. Well, I guess he showed up at a Yankee game, and I guess the symbolism here was the New York Yankees were playing the Toronto Blue Jays, a Canadian team, and the Yankees won. 8-10. You can go into the 10-8, the 108 Sun Moon code number. But MLB.com chose to put up this image of Jack Hughes in a New York Yankees hat as the Yankees beat the Canadian team 8-10, and which it goes along with the Judge, Aaron Judge. Also talking about George Washington's birthday. Yankee Stadium is located about 5 miles or less from the George Washington Bridge. So George Washington, I've done decodes on this, how George Washington is coded in with the New York Yankees on the eastern end of the George Washington Bridge. Yankee Stadium is just around the corner.
George Bush rocking the Yankees What wasn't he throwing out that pitch after 9/11 for the Yankees? George, just another addition there. Sorry.
Well, so this is just, it was an interesting post by MLB bringing in baseball, because what does baseball have to do with it? Like, no, well, he was at a baseball game. It happened to be a Yankees game when they played the Blue Jays. So Yankees are about the judge, Aaron Judge. We're talking about the judge and justice and revenge, the higher level of justice and a lower level of justice. And actually, with Saturn and the rings, Aaron Judge's contract was $360 million, which I talked about, the 360 number. Ring in Sumerian is 360, and this was in my decode. That's on Patreon, Fire and Ice, that I just gave the intro to. I talked about the 360. The head coach for the United States, from his most recent birthday to the time of the hockey final, was 360 days. Which is the cycle number, the circle number. I talked about that. Olympic rings, the circle. So this ties in the judge. Major League Baseball, they made the connection of the hockey win with baseball. I don't know if you can read anything into that as far as the Yankees doing something, but they're always
for me, it's the George Washington, George Bush connection, like I just said, about George Bush throwing out that first pitch in the World Series right after 9/11, which then led to another war. And, I mean, isn't that kind of a story of revenge too? We're going to get our revenge against what happened to the United States. I mean,
yeah, it's a revenge story. Yeah.
Call it a reach, but I mean, I would say it's a revenge thing, right? Oh, we're going to, eye for an eye. We're going to.
Yeah, avenge 9/11. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Was the premise.
Well, if you're on that, it has been interesting to me as I've looked at the gematria of these things. One number has been standing out to me: vengeance 76, revenge 76, divine vengeance, which is another word I saw them use, 76. Even in the Bacon cipher, the name of the guy who was shot, Nemesio, which is Nemesis, which is goddess of revenge, 76. So yeah, this number is super important with this revenge theme, because vengeance and revenge both equal 76.
Skull and Bone 76, George Bush, born on 76.
Right, that's kind of what I was getting at, was that this, even the word drug in the capitals has the 76. Most of the time when you see people talking about this this number, it's usually connected with Skull and Bones and George Bush and all that stuff. But it's interesting. Even Anakin in the capital cipher equals 76, and he's the one that he's the revenge. He's kind of the tool of the Revenge of the Sith movie. Anakin becomes Darth Vader. So yeah, there's something with this. There has to be something with the 76. I haven't quite. I mean, the fact that they all equal that's all I've got so far, but there'll probably more with that. But
we appreciate you, Bri Beast. Thank you.
If you switch to my screen, I showed the 76. This is thanks to BPM's observation about the 76. How if you turn the
that's right
Olympic logo, that's the glyph for Capricorn. So, Plus 76, it's a date in Cancer too, with all the Cancer relevance. July 6th.
That Cortina is kind of standing out to me too, just because just last week we were talking about who? Bud Cort.
Yeah.
Bud Cort and all those things. And then I don't know if I mentioned this earlier when we were talking about Varsity Blues, but the coach, his name is Bud Kilmer. So I don't know. Maybe there's going to be a revenge story on the court, whether it's college basketball or tennis or NBA. I don't know. Things to think about.
I have a feeling there will be another in one of these upcoming playoffs or championships. I don't know what it'll be, what sport it'll be. I mean, there might be one in every one. Who knows? I mean, you got March Madness coming up. You got hockey playoffs going to be coming up. You got the NBA playoffs going to be coming up. Baseball starts again. So that there'll be a lot of different things to look at with the sports-wise, I'm sure.
See, I've talked about that in my decodes of the Super Bowl and Sir Francis Drake and the Spanish versus English. Actually, that's when I started talking about the revenge thing, because Sir Francis Drake was on the name of his ship was the Revenge, and the Spanish Armada.
Oh, I forgot that.
Yeah,
I completely forgot that. That's one of the things I knew there was something else, and I completely forgot you had talked about that.
Yeah,
that Rambo.
Yeah, so the Spanish surrendered on Sir Francis Drake's Revenge ship, and that was Spanish versus English. This could hypothetically, this is where the biggest one, where it almost seems too obvious. When it's too obvious, then you kind of, is there? I mean, and maybe it's not that obvious to everybody else. Maybe to us it may seem obvious when you point these out. But the revenge theme is on the plate, which I actually had predicted already, which I didn't do a decode on it because I just figured it out just the day that the England women's team played the Spain's women's team in the final of the European Soccer Championship. I just figured out the day of it that, wait a minute, Sir Francis Drake, Spanish versus English, English Armada. And the way I figured it out is because Hulk Hogan just died 4 days before. Hulk Hogan wore the red and yellow like the Spanish flag. The Spanish flag has the twin pillars, the pillars of Hercules on it. That's the Spanish crest. Hulk Hogan talked about bringing down the twin pillars. So 4 days later, the England played Spain. And then it made sense. Okay, Hulk Hogan of the red and yellow Spain colors just died 4 days ago. He talked about bringing down the twin pillars. Spain has the twin pillars. That means the twin pillars are going to come down, which is the twin pillars of Spain. But the revenge was Spain's women and England's women had just met 2 years earlier in the final of the Women's World Cup. And Spain won. Spain defeated England in the Women's World Cup final. When Hulk Hogan died with the twin pillars coming down and the HMS Revenge, which was Spain versus England, I said, no, England has to win because it's about revenge. HMS Revenge is about Spain versus England. Now, where there might be another one, which almost seems too obvious now that this has happened. Like, can it be this obvious? England's men, this time it's reversed. So with women, it was World Cup first, European Championship second. Then England got the revenge in the European Championship. With the men, it's the European Championship first. The Spanish males defeated the English males in the European Championship in 2024, in the final of the 2024. This England versus Spain has turned out to be the biggest international rivalry in sports. 3 finals, men and women in a row. And you've seen with the hockey, Olympic hockey, how the men's and the women's coordinates, US versus Canada. And it's coordinated. It mirrors each other. Same score. 1-1 in regulation. 2-1 win. Goaltenders dominate. They're just mirror images of each other. This looks like it could translate to soccer. Because for soccer so far, there's only one thing missing, which would be Spain and England. Again, Spanish Armada, the Revenge, HMS Revenge, Francis Drake, in the final. So in my video, I showed the bracket for the World Cup. Not saying that this will happen, but what the bracket clearly shows you is that FIFA, who made the tournament, deliberately, consciously separated England and Spain so that they could only meet in the final. Now, that doesn't mean that'll happen, but one thing you can say for certain is that FIFA, the world governing body of soccer, does not want England and Spain meeting each other before the final. Whether they'll meet in the final or not, FIFA has consciously separated them because they'll win their groups. I mean, looking at their groups, upsets they're not going to happen. We talk about upset under, no, they're not going to happen. Their groups are, no, they're not going to. Upsets will not happen. The only way they could meet earlier if one of them finishes second in their group. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's the disparity. I mean, upsets happen here and there. Argentina lost its first game to Saudi Arabia in the last World Cup. They ended up winning the final anyway, but no, it's not going to happen. The only way they'll meet, potentially, is in the final, and FIFA consciously made sure to separate them. That revenge theme could very well happen in the World Cup. And I showed the bracket. It's clearly what the path is for. It's for England, Spain in the final. And also, somebody just mentioned 66. England won it in 66, which is the last year of the Fire Horse. Because every 60 years, you get the year and the element. So horse and fire comes around every 60 years. Well, yeah, so it will be the year of the fire horse, and the last year of the fire horse, England, they were hosting the tournament, won in 1966. And when I see 66, I kind of did perk up when I saw that Prince Andrew was arrested on his 66th birthday. That 66 is really interesting with England. That could be you're talking about the revenge story. That would be the big one. And they've set
wasn't it also 666 days since a bloody horse was like marching in England or something? Did you guys catch that one?
Yeah. Okay. So Prince Philip, so this is how it played out, because I was following the horse themes. You had the Ring of Fire eclipse on the horse year starting on the 17th, Michael Jordan's birthday, of course. That was 1776 days after Prince Philip died. Philip means lover of horses. And then 2 days later, or was it 2 days later, or was it on the 19th? Yeah, it was on the 19th. Andrew was arrested at 66. And that was 666 days after the horses ran through London. Bloody horses ran through London. And again, this was at the time I was talking about King Charles, possibly all the symbolism of King William taking over at some point. It was clearly coded into the Super Bowl. Guys, make sure you guys go check out Gematria book on YouTube. It's been his theme, and he kind of brought it up originally, and then I had made the connection. And when Bud Cort died and Vanderbeek died, I had made the connection between Vanderbeek and the Dutch and King William V of the Dutch Republic, which is what William would be. Clearly what they're showing. And then William's age on the Super Bowl parade was perfect. And he's even shown more connections since then of just how Prince William's birth, the whole Super Bowl was really connected to him. So think about it. Then Charles equals 66. Prince William's uncle, Andrew, gets arrested on his 66th birthday. Well, I told you guys earlier that the WWE has this theme right now, or Cody Rhodes, right? The golden boy of the WWE. He's a King Charles symbol. Like his initials are CR. That's the cipher of King Charles. I've shown that so many times, and I'm not going to go over that here. But the point is, he's King Charles, right? And ever since King Charles became king, Cody Rhodes has been in WWE, winning championships, being the golden boy. Well, now he had just lost his title, Cody Rhodes. And of course, he lost it to the Scottish wrestler, Drew McIntyre, Andrew. And they had this big fiery feud, and it looks like they're going to be even facing off at WrestleMania in April again for the title. And so Drew McIntyre, his birthday is when? 6/6. So Andrew gets arrested at 66, right? Prince Andrew. And then this Drew McIntyre, the Scottish wrestler, his birthday is 6/6. And this is also the death date of Trump's grandmother. And I just talked about Trump's mother, who's Scottish, but Trump's grandmother from his father's side died on 6/6/66 during the year of the horse. And but yeah, there's a theme here with this. Oh, and I forgot, Drew McIntyre won the championship from Cody Rhodes on Princess Kate's birthday in a 3 stages of hell match, is what they called it, which was pretty interesting. But yeah, on her birthday, he won this title back. So I need to dig more into this, but there's clearly going to be a theme here with Andrew and Charles and William. But again, going back to the World Cup, I was trying to look in to see when the end date was.
That's July 19th.
Yeah. What was I? Now I forgot what I was doing. Man, there was something I had just had up, and now I think okay, so I found this interesting. So it's the 23rd World Cup, I guess, right? And that's what it says here.
Yep.
Doesn't Spain equal 23? First of all? Yeah.
Nice.
And so
And 76.
And 76, yeah. So Spain equals 23. We just had all this stuff with 23. King equals 23 in the same cipher. We just had Bud Cort die, who was in the movie 23. We just had this other guy die on the 23rd.
And don't forget, you had the head coach of Varsity Blues, Bud Kilmer. Like his first line in the whole movie was, "I will bring number 23." Like that's what he was giving his speech on to the high school.
Yeah, and so like this 23 with this Bud Cort especially was all centered around that. And so and then what you just brought up with the 23s in that movie, which connects to James Van Der Beek, I think that could be something. But anyway, I just thought it was interesting that the Super Bowl, right, this championship that we just had, it comes exactly 23 weeks before the end game of the World Cup. Exactly 23 weeks. So, I mean, this is a number and it's 161 days. And that's the golden ratio. And this is actually, the gold medal game. Yeah, that makes sense. The gold medal game with the United States won on the 22nd was exactly 23 weeks after the first American Pope's birthday, which is also 161 days, golden ratio, kind of like 161, gold medal. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just bringing that up because that's something to watch and to go with what Rambo was saying with the Spain and England thing. And notice that Spain also equals 76, like revenge.
Yeah. Hey, Cody, speaking of revenge, I wanted to bring this back to the conversation because we've talked a bit about revenge. Shout out Maggie. Maggie's the best. But you guys make sure to make note of this. I already did. Rambo, especially, make sure that you see this. Maggie says, OMG, the show Revenge on ABC went from September 21st of 2011 or on 2011 to May 10th. There's your 510. There's your 510. It's based on the Count of Monte Cristo. And earlier there was another comment. I think it was about BPM. Yeah, BPM brought up Jim Caviezel playing Jesus, but was also in the Count of Monte Cristo. So I just wanted to pin this.
Wow.
Because it touched on both things that you guys were both talking about. That's amazing, Maggie.
Yeah, and what BPM brought up was about divine justice, right? That was like the theme of what, and that's what revenge is, like the lower level justice versus higher level justice. Yeah, so yeah, it all ties in with all this.
Amazing, Maggie. Amazing.
Yeah, thank you, Maggie, and Maggie's one of our best subscribers for sure. I mean, Maggie's always in the chat, always adding good info, always being so kind and nice. So thank you, Maggie, for all you do and bringing that up. So, yeah, the 510 thing blows my mind too, because just talking about that as well. So that would be on Trump's mother's birthday again. That show ended, and that would tie perfectly to what I was talking about earlier with the Fail Mary and the revenge from the Seahawks, which connected to that. So yeah, May 10th is a day to watch this year for sure. I mean, Mother's Day. I mean, maybe it's just symbolic. Maybe I'm not saying something's going to happen, but I think it's just the mother theme is significant that Trump's mother is going to be her birthday this year. So Mother's Day.
Yeah. And that's amazing, Maggie. Thank you again.
I think that's all I have. I'm going to have to start wrapping it up within 10 minutes here and get off here. But
no, that's cool. I was thinking the same thing. We're flirting with that 3-hour mark. I do want to just shout out the chat even again. I mean, we've gotten the most super chats in this particular stream than we've gotten before. Never expected, but always appreciated. So I just want to, pay those thanks and at least, give them an opportunity for any of us to make a comment about what they have to say. So we're going to pivot here. Very controversial topic, but shout out to Family First Cornell Misty. That this doesn't need to turn into another hour-long conversation. But thank you very much for the $2 super chat. Much appreciated. And they're just asking, the Earth is flat, not a ball. What are your thoughts? If either of you guys want to say anything about it. For me personally, I've made it very clear. I lean more on the flat side of things, mainly because biblically, right? That's pretty much all I can say about it. I mean, does that mean that I'm right? No, not necessarily. I just lean more that way. And call me a crazy flat earther. I don't really care. I'm not scared about sharing my my leans on things. So that's all I have to say about it. But Rambo, Cody, I mean, if you guys want to say anything or not, that's totally fine.
I've talked with Cornell. We talked.
Oh, you
about
have?
it.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked about it. We talked about it. We had the discussion. So yeah, I know. I know. Cornell. He told me. I mean, he asked, "What are your thoughts?" But I know his thoughts. We had a pretty extensive discussion. He's one of my patrons. Yeah. So in a nutshell, I would say, yeah. So you're saying biblically. Well, the reason the Bible thought they said the Earth was flat at the time of the Bible is, well, everybody thought the world was flat at that time because the world appears flat. You can't conceive the world being a ball. You just can't until you have the ability to travel. That's when, wait a minute, things seem a little weird. And that's why. So all the ancient, cultures, such as biblical, what else? Even if you go to the top of a mountain, the world still looks flat. It's because of the sheer size of the Earth. Once you have the ability to travel, which is technology, you have ships, now you have planes, and now you can measure distances, long distances. The first thing you'll notice once you develop the ability to travel is when the stars in the north, like you have the Big Dipper, which is Ursa Major, Ursa Minor, the Big Bear, Little Bear, and the Polaris. So you'll see those constellations, and the stars rotate in a counterclockwise direction. In ancient times, nobody traveled as far as past the equator into the southern hemisphere. Now, once you go to the south, suddenly you realize you don't see the same stars. You see the Southern Cross, which you can't see in the north. So ancient Egypt, they believe the world was flat, but they'd never been to the south to see that there's a whole different set of stars in the south. Not only that, then the stars move clockwise. They move clockwise in the south, counterclockwise in the north, and it's a whole set of different stars. And now you can actually, whether in a plane ships, you can actually see the constellations as you move north or as you move south. You can just see them change. The other thing which you have, a benefit that you have, I've discussed this over with Cornell. We've discussed it. We've already discussed this. So another ability that you have when you have technology and the ability to travel is then you can measure distances on Earth. We're not talking about measure from outer space. On Earth, you can travel over land and sea, and you can measure the widest point, the circumference. So the widest point when you travel the Earth would be the equator. If the Earth is flat, say, for example, so the Tropic of Capricorn is 23.5 degrees south of the equator. If the Earth is flat, that means the Tropic of Capricorn has a wider circumference than the equator. I mean, if that's the case, what is that number? What is that distance? You know what I mean? Because now, if you go to along the Tropic of Capricorn, it's actually a smaller circumference than the equator, and that's just you can measure from traveling on Earth, and that just comes from the ability to travel, the technology of its vehicles and ships. So my question would be, and then I'm open to everything, and I'm open to every argument. What would you say is the circumference of the Tropic of Capricorn? Because if the Earth is flat, it has to be a bigger circumference than the equator, and that's measurable. You don't need to go to outer space or trust NASA. No, you can measure that here on Earth. You can actually travel that circumference, and it's a smaller circumference, the Tropic of Cancer, the widest circumferences when you go along the equator, which is, you don't take NASA for that. That's why they couldn't do that in the past. So it looks flat. Of course, you think it's flat. So what is that? So what is the circumference of the Tropic of Capricorn? Is it a bigger circumference than the equator? I mean, it's measurable.
I mean, that's one of the most educated responses I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's very straightforward
when it comes to this conversation. And hey, we're doing this to have fun, and like I lean flat, you lean round, it's all good. I did like Randy's comment here. Just I'll say I don't know what the Earth looks like because I've never seen it. Like I don't know, I've never been to outer space. There's always things to
right. So, but this is sorry, can I say, this is my
no,
point.
yeah, you're good.
So a lot of people are saying that the NASA images are fake, and we're relying on NASA to determine that the Earth is a globe. That is not what we're relying on. We're relying on the ability to travel and measure distances. When we have the technology which they didn't have in the past of ships and planes, and we can measure. And we're not going to dispute what a mile is or a kilometer is. You're not going to dispute but the official mileage is on your car. I mean, you're not going to, yeah, so it's measurable. It'll be very simple to prove that the Earth is flat, because all you'd have to do, let's take the Tropic of Capricorn, for example, and travel around it. You say you've never seen it. Well, you don't need to leave Earth to see Earth to figure that out. Travel along the Tropic of Capricorn, and if the Earth is flat, it should be a wider circumference than the equator. That's measurable. We have vehicles, we have measuring devices, we have miles, kilometers, whatever you use. The Tropic of Capricorn should be a bigger circumference than the equator if the Earth is flat. And it doesn't take NASA in outer space to figure that out. It's very straightforward. The fact is the circumference gets smaller when you go past the equator to the north and the south. That's measurable. It's straightforward.
I just made note of that. No, I appreciate that, Rambo. Cody, did you want to throw your 2 cents on this one? If not, no worries. I just, I want to say thank you again for the super chat and the question.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I don't really, it doesn't really, I mean, obviously it's good that we are correct and we know what's right, but it's not a topic I want to spend too much time arguing about, because I think we have more important topics to argue about. But I mean, as far as what I lean, I mean, with what Rambo just said, I mean, it makes complete sense. And I think a lot of people are kind of caught up in all. I mean, I think sometimes things can get confusing when there's so much different people pushing different narratives of different things. So I don't know. Yeah, if there's an actual, you can't deny facts or certain things once you've proven them. So I mean, like I said, I guess if somebody wants to figure out what it is, you should probably do what Rambo just said and see if that's what the case is. So I mean, again, I don't have a specific. I just know this is a pugnacious topic. I don't like getting involved in it so much. I always just tell people in the chat when they say it, I'm like, yeah. I mean, I definitely don't believe what NASA says. That's not the point, but.
Yeah, so, I mean, to Rambo's point, right? It's like you don't need to lean on NASA to come to certain conclusions. But I think you said it very well, Cody. And Rambo, I just made note of it, like that this is a very good talking point. Things to think about. The Tropic of Capricorn should be a larger circumference than the equator if the Earth was flat, right? Did I get that right? I just want to make sure that in my notes.
Yes, and it's also measurable on Earth. You don't need NASA to confirm that. You don't need a photograph of Earth to confirm that. All you need to do is measure on land and sea, which everyone can do. We have the ships. We have the the measuring units, whether it's miles or kilometers. You can travel across land, and it will be. You could end the debate in a snap. It doesn't take going to outer space. Yeah.
But I also agree with Cody in that, like, for me, it's not something I put a ton of my attention into. Of course, I've looked into it, and I have my leans on it. But I'm with Cody on that last part that he mentioned, where I feel like there's a lot more important things to discuss, not necessarily argue about, because we're not having an argument right now. We're just sharing some insight.
Yeah,
Um,
I talked with Cornell about it. We talked at
Yeah.
length already. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, and Cody, I know you got a jet here really soon, but we're gonna close with this final super chat. Wow, might be the biggest one we've gotten so far. And talk about a pugnacious topic. But thank you first and foremost, Bry Beast, for the super chat. Much appreciated. But they're curious about us decoding Q, because everything comes true, so our reality is clearly scripted. I mean, I'll start by just saying that I was a Q follower for a while, leading up to the election where that Trump lost. You know, all the there was so much going on, right? And leading up to 2020 and the C word and, you know, all the different phrases and QAnon and all that kind of stuff. I just jumped off of it. Like it was so misleading to me at a point, but I know that there's a lot of people out there that are still following 4chan and, you know, the QAnon movement and thinking that things are still happening behind the scenes. And, you know, to me, I this kind of is a very similar topic to me, like the flat round earth conversation, where I don't think that that's the most important things that need to be discussed. But once again, thank you again, Bry Beast, for the super chat. That's really my 2 cents, just because I haven't been following it for that long, or for a while now, I guess is my point. But yeah, Cody, Rambo, as we kind of wrap things up, do you guys have anything to add about just the whole Q movement?
I agree with both you and Cody about the flat Earth. Like, we talk how many times we talk. I mean, to length that we've talked, you and me, like we've never brought up. I mean, we brought up a little, but it wasn't a big deal, right? Because we've never really brought up the shape of the Earth, right? Even though
Right.
you've told me how you lean towards flat, and it's never been. And when have I ever talked about the shape of the Earth? I almost never talk about it.
And think about how many people like get divided about that conversation. Like we don't do that. It's like, you know what? Hey, like, this is where I'm at. Here's where you're at. But anyways, let's move on. Right.
I mean, I talk about it when I illustrate things like how Earth is aligned with Sirius and how they determined July 4th. And I wouldn't even know how to come up with that model in a flat Earth model. If somebody did, yeah, they could make the argument. I don't know how that works in a flat Earth model. So in that respect, yes, when I talk about things like planet alignments and Earth's rotation and conjunctions and oppositions, we just talk about blood moons. Yeah, then you're taking a global Earth moving around the sun perspective without necessarily getting into the flat Earth with his global Earth. But you know, and everyone's seen my work all these years. I've never talked about it, but I don't mind. But the thing is, I don't mind if somebody wants to, like I did with Cornell. We talked at length about it. It's no problem. He's one of my patrons. But if somebody does want to have the discussion, then it's fine. Like someone like Cornell, you can have that discussion. There's some people who are so like it's almost like a cult thing, and they're so intensely. It's typically the flat Earth. Even people who are there are people who are global Earth who are so incensed and aggravated and triggered by flat Earthers. So there's some people I wouldn't even talk about it with. I can talk about Cornell with it. We've kind of brought it up. We haven't talked about it, but I think it's a very cogent and straightforward argument, which I gladly have. And I actually am curious with flat earthers about the dimensions that they feel like I brought up. You know, I'm glad to have the discussion or debate if someone brings it up. I'm glad to have it. Although, like you guys, both of you, I agree. I never bring it up myself. If someone else brings it up, I'm glad to engage it. I'm just, I've never seen how in general, I'm glad to engage, and which I did today, which I think is a cogent argument. And I don't know, I would be curious to see what the answer was and how someone would come up with numbers. I don't see how that's possible, but.
And I agree, Rambo, that's why I took notes on kind of, you know, your main talking point with that, because you said it best. Like, my mind is open. My mind is not closed to any thing when it comes to round flat earth or QAnon. You know what I mean? Like I'm always open to have the conversation and take in new information, right? Because things change. But as far as the whole Q thing, anything you would like to touch on with regards to that?
There'll always be some truth to it, but I don't trust Q as being some independent source. They're supposed to be white hats, I'm assuming. White hats are the benevolent insiders. Those who are in the club, in positions of power, but they're white hats, but benevolent. They're looking out for us.
Right.
I think there are some. And
as
some
you're wearing a white hat, and I'm wearing a white hat.
It's a little off color, but the thing is, I'm not an insider, so I'm not. You can't call me a white hat because I'm not an insider.
No, I'm just pointing out like funny things.
But yeah, so the notion of Q is that they're insiders, they're white hats who are on the inside, and that because of they're privy to certain truths. And yes, they will present some. It'll never be 100%. If just say Q is completely fake or false, agents of the system, they're not going to give you even they, if they are, even agents will give you some truth. You have to. It's like chess. It's a gambit. You have to give something up. You can't just block the truth out. You have to give something up to gain people's trust. But what you give up, you'd rather not. You're going to give up some truth. The thing is,
they say the best lies are showered in truth.
Yeah, you need some truth.
Yeah.
The thing about Q, which is blatantly obvious, is that it's political, and it is it's pretty much an arm of the Republican Party. It would be more credible if it wasn't so obviously Republican. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good way to put it. You don't see anything about, that whole gamut, like you said.
Yeah, but it does have some
focusing truth. They focus on the left, but it's not like the left focusing on the right kind of thing.
So
right?
I guess so. If someone was a real Q follower, just 100% believe this is the truth, the solution is vote Republicans and everything will be all right. Like now, Republicans, Donald Trump, he's the Q guy. Supposedly he's the truth teller. They say Donald Trump appears more times in the Epstein files than Jesus Christ appears in the New Testament.
Jeez.
And it's a fact. And he was going to save the children. He's the Q guy who will save the children, whose name appears more times in the Epstein files than Jesus Christ's name appears in the Bible. And suddenly he's the one stalling on releasing the files. So isn't that something with his record? So things like that. So the reason the Q followers were so gung-ho to save the children, and the people following Q, they have a good heart. This is stuff that should stop. It should be whoever's doing, whether it's Epstein or someone else, it's going on. Children do go missing in hundreds of thousands, whether it's whoever it is, Epstein, or even it's not whoever it is. This should come to an end. And yes, the people have good hearts who are following Q, and but I think they're naive. Part of the reason they're going, it's mostly the Clintons. They saw it as the Democrats are the ones who are the most guilty, and it's not. So it's too political. Just in a nutshell, Q is too political. It's not, and it's part of the divide and conquer. You be genuinely objective, genuinely independent. Political parties exist for divide and conquer. Just say you believe in the Second Amendment. You believe in the right to bear arms. You don't need a political party to advocate. You're just a person who believes in the right to bear arms. Now, you could be somebody who believes in the right to bear arms, but believe like a woman should have the right to abort a fetus, for example. There shouldn't be political party. You could just be a person who believes in those two issues. But the way to do it now, the political issues, well, if you believe a woman has the right to abort her own fetus, then you're a Democrat and you're on the left. And if you believe in the right to bear arms, you're a conservative. That's just divide and conquer. So what happens when you take one side, you have to adopt every issue. So just say you're somebody who really believes in the right to bear arms, and then you really believe in just a woman's right to choose. And well, if I'm a Republican, then you kind of have to fall in line with everything Republicans say you should fall in line. Then you know what I mean. Right. So political parties aren't necessary. You can have candidates who have just different positions. Some would be what you consider left. Positions should not be left or right. Abortion should not be left or right. It's whether some people believe a fetus is a child, an independent human being with independent rights. You can believe that. It's not left or right. It's whether you believe it or not. Or, for example, with a Second Amendment, you can believe in the right to bear arms, or you could believe that the state should have it and the people shouldn't have it because it's not safe. It should not have a political label to it. It's just an opinion on an issue. There's no such thing as a left-wing issue. Those are labels strictly for divide and conquer, and Q is a vehicle of divide and conquer.
Hence why they give you the option to vote independent, but that same divide, right, left or right, they say, oh, if you're going to vote independent, you might as well not even vote, right? It's that whole
Yeah.
Anyways, I'll just leave it there. But yeah, hey Cody,
I'll leave it, yeah.
I know you got to go, brother. But anything on the Q stuff that you wanted to touch on with Bry Beast's question?
Yeah, I don't. I am gonna bounce about right now, and I'm. It's already, the sun's actually coming up. It's getting earlier. The sun's coming up, but yeah, I don't have anything to say on the Q stuff really. So everybody always talks about it. I don't even really know much about it. I just know that there's this Q guy. I don't really even know much about it. So,
hey,
but yeah,
fair. That's fair. For me, Q is the 17th letter. You know, Trump, Grover Cleveland. You know, Trump very much tied in with Ohio, the 17th state. I don't think that's a coincidence. But yeah, let's close it out there. Thank you again, Bry Beast. Really appreciate the super chat. I just wanted to, you know, at least carve out a little time for the donation. So really appreciate it. Let's close out with some final outros. Once again, my name is AJ, Balll Don't Lie, 3 L's and Ball. You guys can email me anytime at wordplaybook, 3osandbook@gmail.com. I would be more than happy to send you guys any of the books that I've written over the years, about 6 years now running. Got my Patreon. You guys can check that out if you guys are interested. But yeah, Cody, please, final reminder for those who may not be familiar with you and your work and where they can find you and support you.
Yeah, thanks everyone for staying up with us and being here. Thanks Rambo, thanks AJ. You guys can find me on Decoding with Cody, which some of you are watching now, and on YouTube. And if you guys want to support the channel, buymeacoffee.com/decoding with Cody. So thanks again for the great show, and I'll see you guys next week, I'll see you guys before that on my channel, but can't wait for next week, also next Tuesday again.
Yeah, we appreciate you, Cody. Seriously, the sacrifices you make to be a part of this this podcast truly means everything to me. So thank you again, man. Get some sleep and enjoy your morning.
Yeah. I will get at least a few more hours of sleep, I think. And then, but yeah, you guys have a great night too. I'm going to bounce out, and thanks Rambo. Thanks AJ. Yeah. And I hope everyone has a great night out there. So
yeah, thanks again, Cody. I appreciate
you guys. Love you, man. We'll see you soon. Rambo, close us out, man.
Can you go to my screen real quick as I close out?
Definitely.
Okay, so I just want to say that I have this is my Instagram. I just put up yesterday something on Instagram. It's a 3-minute video. It's Epstein 911. So it's on Instagram, instagram.com/thetruthcodes. And then on my Patreon, I put up the Fire and Ice video. And tonight, and with what other patrons have commented on, I have more to add to this, as well as there's just no shortage of there are things I still have to talk about. The Renee Good, Johnny B. Good, there are a bunch of things I still have to do. That things are happening, and so yes, I have plenty more to do on Instagram and Patreon. And thank you, AJ, for putting it together, promoting my channel, and thank you for the great comments today from the chat, for the audience, and yeah, it was a great show, and I did enjoy it. And thank you for having me again. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, Rambo. Like I say all the time, it's a true blessing having you and Cody join me every single week. I feel like I am humbled as a child every single week, sharing, some of the high level elementary sandbox stuff, and then you guys put me to school every week. But I say that in the best way possible. It's very humbling. But final reminder, you guys, with Rambo, as Rambo just recapped, these are the things that he's working on and what's coming out on his Patreon right now. $5 a month for everything. $5 a month. Break that down by day. I mean, this is pennies on the dollar. This is the best deal in town. I promise you, it's the best $5 you're ever going to spend. Okay. It's amazing the work that you put in, Rambo. Seriously. I'm kind of scared to even try to start making my own videos like you do. And I appreciate you kind of walking me through how you do it. I know we did that a while ago, but just walking through that, I was like, man, this is hard work. This is really hard work. It's one thing to find do the research, find the alignments, get the visuals together. And then it's a whole other thing to tell a story and put it in the visual formats that Rambo does. So I just wanted to take that extra couple seconds here to really emphasize, you guys, what you're paying for, $5 a month on Rambo's Patreon, best deal you will ever find in the world. And I've been telling Rambo for years now at this point, he should up his price. But he's too humble to do that. Maybe one day it happens. We'll see. I'm just saying it's, you're getting a killer bang for your buck. And then final reminder, you guys, you also get access to his Discord. And it's a similar experience to everybody in the chat today that add more and more to the things that we talk about. So just want to thank you again, Rambo, so much for you always being here and the insight that you provide. I'm going to give one final thank you to everybody in the chat. I can't pin everybody's comments here, but yes, thank you guys all for tuning in and watching. We've had over 175 people watching the majority of the night. Really means a lot. And final ask would be if you guys can please just hit that like and subscribe on the way out. It really helps with the algorithm and growing the channel. And I'm excited to see what's coming next. So thank you again, Rambo. I appreciate you, brother. And we'll catch you very soon. All right.
All right. Take care. Everybody.
On to the next one.
The ball doesn't lie. The ball is the circle. The circle is infinite. The infinite is lies. Our life is a lie. One letter off. What does it mean to believe? What does it mean to live? What word is in the middle of believe? As you tumble, are you humble? Do you know it all? Can you admit that you don't? Do you care to know? Do you care to grow? Do you want it more? What's below? No, no, no. Are you of this world or of this world? Are you the pearl or the swine? Be defined and don't whine, just shine.